good here.
Here we go!
Welcome to Nintendo Dad's 532. That's episode 532, recorded on June 12th, 2025. On this week's episode, we talk about our 1 week impressions of the Nintendo Switch 2, and we have Marty here to be able to share his opinion since we didn't get to have it last week. Without further ado, Jesse, you know what to do.
That's right. That's right, everybody. Reports of my demise. They're greatly exaggerated. Although, I have returned with a little bit of a cold. I feel like this whole year is just me getting sick a lot. I don't understand.
Spring, summer, colds suck. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. It kind of sucks. And, but hey, we've all got a Switch too. So if we do get sick, then... we have something to play, right? And so
you're not
speaking of
one of those things where you can't focus while you're sick. I hate those kind of things.
Oh, yeah, those are the worst.
Yeah.
Those are the worst. But, I remember sick days as a teenager with the Super Nintendo playing Final Fantasy 4 or 2, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
Mario World, all that good stuff. Well, I guess, and so here we are, full circle. I'm not feeling great. I'm playing Mario Kart World now. And so, yeah, obviously the Switch 2 is in our hands. We've had it for a week. We're going to talk about our impressions on that a little bit later in the show. But before we get to that, how you guys doing? How's this week been for you?
It's been, my personal trainer asked me that today. He goes, does it feel like a Thursday to you? And I'm like, well... I'm kind of on a split mind. Some part of me says this week has gone fast. It feels like a Tuesday still, but the other half says this has been a long week and it feels like a Saturday.
Yeah.
So either way, no, it doesn't feel like a Thursday.
So when I typically take my students to camp, we normally go Monday through Friday. And last week we left on Thursday, which, if you remember, was the day the Switch 2 came out. So I had to stay up late to go find a midnight release, and that led me into an already tiring week. So I feel like I've just been constantly running since last Thursday, including having a summer class, and it's just been really, really, really busy. I'll be honest, I am coming to you tonight on the show, or this week on the show. I'm absolutely wrung out. I'm wore out, guys. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But Tim, how you doing, buddy?
It sounds like I'm doing better than you are.
Yeah.
Not as tired. But I am doing good, and got through, like I said, we got through getting the Switch last week. Got through putting in a new toilet in our house. That's always fun. Plumbing I do not like, but thankfully everything's not leaking.
we had a few people know we live with our in-laws, and so there's one side of the house that's theirs. There's the mud room, laundry room that connects the two, and then there's ours. And a few years ago, my father-in-law was having a problem with one of his toilets, and so he just decided to have all the toilets in the house replaced. So there's only 4, 2 on our side, 2 on their side. So he just decided to do it all at once. And my son at the time, Isaac, he was still very young, and was home, and the plumber was in there, and he's like, what's going on, And Aaron explained to him, it's like, he's a plumber, and he's in there putting a new toilet in. He goes, like Mario? Cool. I want to be a plumber when I grow up. And from the bathroom, this guy's voice comes out, no, you don't, kid.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Our toilet story. Well, we got a lot to talk about this week, guys, with everything with Switch 2's launch and what we've been playing, and a ton of your questions as well. So how about we just dive straight into it, shall we? And our news is brought to us each week by you guys over at patreon.com/NintendoDads, where for as little as $1 a month, you can join up with the greatest community on the internet. And guys, I will go ahead and tell you, rumors are rumbling that a brand new monthly Mayhem contest is coming down the pike for all people in our patrons of the show, everyone in the Discord. If you're not familiar with monthly Mayhem, maybe you're a new listener or you're a new patron of the show, that is a place where we get to play a game together that's recommended by our community for prizes. Yes, we give away eShop cards and all kinds of other stuff during that time. And you, to be a part of it, all you have to do is either sub to us on Twitch with your Twitch Prime subscription. That gets you in the Discord, or $1 a month, or $5 or $10 or $30 a month over on the Discord. And that also gets you an ad-free feed for the show, which is really the best perk alongside the community. And we want to say a huge thanks to our brand new patrons, Brandon and Ericos200. Thank you guys for joining us and joining up over at patreon.com/NintendoDads. Head over there already if you haven't. And hey, if you go over there and tell them Tim sent you, you get a free month if you buy a year's subscription at any level. And when I say that, tell them Tim sent you, you really don't have a place to say that. You just get a free month because it was Tim's idea. We just blame it on him. Good job, Tim.
You're welcome.
Good stuff. Diving into the headlines here. First and foremost, the Switch 2 is out. It's in a lot of people's hands. And how do we know that? Because Nintendo announced today that 3.5 million Nintendo Switch 2 units have been sold just in the first 4 days. So this is just like, we don't have the last 3 days. So $3.5 million or 3.5 million units. That also makes it the fastest selling Nintendo console of all time, if not the fastest selling console from anyone of all time. I saw a graph earlier that did some math. This roughly translates to about 780,000 something units per day being sold. Guys, incredible.
You want to hear this? If you're thinking about it this way, this sounds more incredible. Revenue brought in. So, assuming about a 50-50 split between SKUs, that's like $1.8 billion in revenue in 4 days.
In 4 days. That's not counting software. That's not counting accessories.
Nope.
That's not counting digital sales, right? Any of that. So, man, massive launch for Nintendo. It seems fairly positive. We're going to talk a little bit about that later on in the show. But guys, I did not get to participate in a lot of the launch day shenanigans with you guys because I was actually on the road driving a bus full of children, teenagers, to camp. That's what Justin was like. So what are you guys doing today? He tweeted that, and I was like, I'm eating Long John Silver's on the road and hanging out with 43 people in my group while my Switch 2 sits in the car. So anyway, how did launch go for you guys? Were there a lot of people? Did you go out? Did you have it shipped to you? What did you do?
So in other words, you didn't listen to last week's episode.
I didn't have time. I literally, okay, listen,
we went through this.
Before anybody smart alecky bust my tail for this, I didn't have time to listen to the show. I've
that's
not
fair.
had time.
I'm just. This is just.
So I'll just talk about my experience. How about I just talk about my experience then?
Sure. Yeah, we can recap our experiences in post show. We don't have to tell everybody
cool.
again.
So a lot of people knew I had a pre-order with Best Buy. I also had a pre-order for my son with Best Buy, and it inexplicably got canceled the day after it was made. They didn't ever give us a reason. We tried to chat with them. They were like, "Yeah, sucks to be you. Sorry." They didn't even give us any gift cards or anything like that. So I very quickly was able, for some reason, to hop on Walmart.com and buy one for him. And we got afraid that it wouldn't be delivered in time because we had to leave at 8:30 that morning, and it promised delivery by 9. But it's Walmart, and really they're hard to trust for lots of reasons. And so I decided the day before launch, that Wednesday, to call a GameStop that's a little bit out of the way. It's about 45 minutes from my house in South Jackson, and ask them, "Are you going to have any units available for a walk-up sale?" And they were like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "Okay, are they going to be bundles?" And the guy said, "Yes, there will be some here. I would just advise you to get here and get in line early." So we did. We left as soon as my son got off work, 12:30. We headed to South Jackson. We got there about 1:15. We were the first people in the store. There was literally, we walked in, there was a girl standing behind the counter, and that was it. And she's
Nice.
like, "Are you here to line up for Switch 2?" And I was like, yes, we are. So we got in line. We were the first of the walk-ups.
And they opened them at 3, right?
They opened them at 3.
Okay.
Yes.
I was
So
say,
the
hope you weren't
idea
sitting there
was-
for 10 hours.
No, the idea was that we could get there, and they would do pre-rings at 3 o'clock. And if you were walk-ups, you had to pay for it then. And then if you were a
Makes sense.
if you were a pre-order, you had to pay off. You could pay off your console then,
Yeah.
and then just come back at 10. At
They just didn't
11
want to
o'clock
deal
and
with
walk
money
in
at midnight. They wanted
and
this,
get exactly. They wanted everybody. And let me just tell you something. I don't know if anybody from the South Jackson store will ever listen to us. We talked about the show while we were standing around, but if anybody from GameStop ever listens to the show, and specifically this episode, that store right there, everybody deserves a raise, and everybody was fantastic. The best experience I've ever had in a GameStop with any console launch. So by the time it got to 3 o'clock, I had already decided I'm technically second in line. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy a bundle too, because that way I will cancel the one at Best Buy and we won't have to go 2 places. Right? I had some accessories pre-ordered at Best Buy, but I was just going to go ahead and cancel mine, and that way they add it to the pile or whatever, because it was already there. And so I did that. We got our bundles. This GameStop had 11 bundles and 4 just consoles for walk-up. So they keep this in mind. They had 15.
Mm-hmm.
For their pre-orders, they only had 16 pre-orders.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they only got 31 Switch 2s, period, which every single one of them sold. So
because
by the
I
time
think at my Best Buy, I think we had 200. They had like 200 units between pre-orders and walk-ups.
by the time we walked out, it was 3:30, because what they did was they rang in they let pre-orders come in and do their business first. There only 2 of them showed up. And one of the guys wanted to trade in just like a massive bag full of stuff, like his old Switch, all this stuff.
Oh,
And
no.
he hadn't played it in months, so the battery was completely dead. So they had to sit there and try to charge it. And so finally they were like, just come on around, just come on and we'll do it. So we got our bundles. We didn't buy anything but no accessories. They had very, very few accessories for sale that were not already pre-claimed. And so we went home. We did our church thing that night, and then about 9:30, we got in line. We went back. We got there about 10:15. Nobody is there. Like, they had food trucks earlier. They had all this stuff. There's no food trucks. There's nobody in the parking lot. Walk in the store, and it's the manager from earlier and one guy, the guy who had been behind us in line. And so they had a new sign up on the door that said to only allow 5 people in the store at once. And we got in, my son and I, and that guy, and one more guy came in. They're like, all right, go on and lock the door. So technically at that store at 11:01, my son was the first one to receive his Nintendo Switch. Because all the other people in the store, like the guy who was already waiting and everything, he's like, no, man, let him go first. Which I thought was a really cool moment. Like, because this is probably going to be the last console launch that my son and I are going to experience together, like living in the same house. So he got to be the first one.
Because the next time around, he's going to be 25.
Oh, yeah. So the way this GameStop did it was so great. They did not staple giant staples to the front of the box. Thank
That's
God.
good to hear.
But they had every console numbered. And what they did was when you bought it, they took it off. Like they had the first 15 or 16 pre-orders. and then mine was like the next number, or his was the next number, then on down, And when they did that, they would make a copy of your receipt, they'd give you a copy, and then they would go to the back and they would put whatever you bought in a bag and write that number on it. So that night they just had all the bags lined up, and you just came through, showed them your receipt, got your bag, and left. So 11:01 hit, 11:05 we're in the car.
I wish Best Buy had done that, but Best Buy wanted you to spend money. Even if you didn't, they wanted you to.
They did. That's the thing about this store. Nobody, they didn't try to upsell anything. They just asked, "Are you looking for any accessories? Here's, what. Just ask if you want something. I'll tell you if we have it or not." And the only thing I asked for was, "Do you have a Pro controller?" And they were like, "Nope, we don't even have Joy-Cons." They didn't get much. Past what was pre-ordered.
Okay.
So they didn't have anything extra. I'll take that back. They did have a camera. I bought the camera there. And so I canceled it for my Best Buy pre-order too. And so now all that I had left there was the Pro controller, which somebody picked up for me while I was gone. But we got home. We were home by 11:45 and doing system setup. But we got the bundles that were the printed on the box bundle, not the sticker with the code in the box bundle. Ours were the ones that had like Mario Kart was quote unquote preloaded on the system. Like all you had to do was go to the eShop and it would pop up a prompt and say, this system came with Mario Kart World. Do you want to download it? Which sounds awesome, except for the fact that those bundles were locked to 12 a.m. PDT.
Oh, no.
So Mario Kart could not be downloaded until 2 a.m. Central Time. So both of us end up falling asleep on the couch, trying to wait around for 2 o'clock, and we're supposed to leave at 8:30 in the morning. I'm supposed to be up at 6. So finally, I dozed off. I woke up on the couch at 2:15. I was like, oh, crap. Checked it, saw that it was working. And here's the crazy thing about that. The only way to find out, like people started discovering once they started getting home from the midnight launches, they started discovering which version of the pre-order they had.
Yeah.
Right? So they have the box, it's printed on the box.
I think I saw Game Explain post a tweet about saying, well, what's going on, Nintendo? I can't download the game. He probably got the same bundle you had.
And it was, it was like speculation. It was pure speculation as to whether it would unlock at 12 a.m. Pacific. But it did. What's crazy is I also had the invite from Nintendo, right? That allowed me to order the console.
Yeah.
Well, I ordered one of those for our church. So now we have a Nintendo Switch in our youth room. It came with the sticker. It was the one that had the scratch off card.
Okay.
So I actually had both. But what's going to be really interesting in the end, and I don't know how you would ever know this, but it's like, like we have people in our community that collect variants of Switches and Switch boxes. That's a variant. And True. I wonder how many of each one were made. And I wonder what the change in course correction was. Was it, okay, we've got all these boxes printed up with all these codes that will preload on the Switch. Holy crap, a lot of people want these bundles. Well, now we can slap a sticker on the regular box, throw a code in there, and we can make more bundles.
Yeah, my theory, no idea if it was accurate, but is that the ones with a sticker on it were, meant to go to a different region, but that they course corrected and moved more into the US. I don't know. I don't know if it was everyone had it or if it was
got the sticker
like mine. But when I did the setup, UK English was the top language with US English option too. So I'm like,
did you get the sticker?
I didn't get a bundle.
Oh, okay.
I got system only.
Mine was the sticker for the church, and US English was the second one. I can't remember what it was for the one.
Okay. So I'm wondering if mine was originally designed to go to UK, but got redirected. No idea. Just a guess.
Really
just
interesting.
A nice story in my head to tell myself.
But I have to say that it was a really cool moment to be the first people that walked out of that GameStop with a Switch too. And at the point we were walking out. It was 11 o'clock, and the line was of 31 or so people was already all the way back to the end of the parking lot. And
Did they cheer
looked
for
at
you
my
guys
son.
when you walked out?
Nobody.
Nobody
Not
cheered?
one
We
person.
had
I was
we
like,
had we had some cheers going on as people left the store.
I was
Don't
like,
know.
do you not
Don't know how
realize
long
who I
that
am?
lasted.
Yeah, by number 20, people are probably like, "Oh God, please
Yeah.
hurry up."
You're like,
Because I was like in my I was number 6 in my pre-order line.
Well, it was a great experience. I mean, I do wish that I hadn't had to go somewhere the next day. Not that I didn't want to go to camp and all that stuff, but I mean, just I wish when I heard that first initial like, "Oh, it's going to be this day" when it comes out, I was like, "Oh my gosh, really?" But yeah, it's been fantastic.
It's going to be a weekend for you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I'm still recovering. That's why I feel like that's kind of why I'm wrung out, is because I'm still just, I feel like I've been just constantly spinning. Even though I've gotten sleep, I didn't get that whole week. I didn't get a whole lot, and then coming home, I've not gotten a lot just because last night I stayed up and watched 4 hours of wrestling, so that was stupid. But anyway, that's my Switch 2 story. And it sounds like there's 3.5 million people who have a Switch 2 story somewhere, including those folks up in New York who got their stapled copies. God, how mad I would be.
right.
Man, so bad, so bad. Well,
But
hey,
they turned it around pretty quickly. They
good,
fixed the issue.
good.
So
That's good. Hey, I'm happy for them.
I heard they had to redirect stock from other stores just to replace them, which which left every store in that area short. Or
Listen, do y'all believe somebody got fired for that?
I hope so.
My
That
goodness.
is a career limiting decision, and
My goodness.
that is the definition.
We'll just staple them right to the box. Did you hear that crack? Nah, just put them in the back. Golly. Anyway, hey, speaking of did you hear? Did you hear there's a brand new Splatoon spin-off game coming? Did you hear that Nintendo completely shadow dropped it, or shadow announced it via the Nintendo Today app?
That's what they've been saying that they want to do. So
Yep.
sure,
They
makes sense.
started there. They started there, but they eventually did post it on social.
They did post it elsewhere. So if you're not in the loop and don't know what we're talking about, a couple of Splatoon pieces of news that you need to be aware of if you're a fan. Number one, Splatoon Raiders was announced this week via the Nintendo Today app and their social media. This is a brand new spin-off game set in the Splatoon universe with Deep Cut from Splatoon 3 playing the supporting role, and you in the role of a mechanic. And all the info that's been given is this. Players will go on an adventure in this mysterious Spirahalite Islands along with the Splatacular Deep Cut trio. Literally all that was said. It is Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive. No release window information was given. However, some people, Eagle Eye people, noticed that this has already been rated by the ESRB in Australia. And so usually when that happens, that means release is coming fairly soon.
Makes sense.
Where do you think this release fits into the slate of what we know is coming so far for the rest of 2020?
Do they have a September game yet?
Possibly. So let's talk this down. So you got Mario Party Jamboree and Donkey Kong next month.
That's the Jamboree's in August, I thought.
Well, I thought it was 7/24.
I can double
Let's
check my notes.
7/24 is Jamboree.
Yep.
7/17 is Donkey Kong.
Okay.
8/28 is Kirby.
Kirby.
Oh, I was
is
thinking
August.
of Kirby.
But September they don't have anything. I don't think. Which one's
Damon Ex Machina
is September?
is September 5th.
Okay, and then
Is that Nintendo published?
yes.
Okay.
Is ZA Pokemon Legends ZA? Is that October or November?
Let me see if I can.
I think
October.
it's October.
Just
That's
Nintendo.
October 15th.
No, it's not. Let me limit it. Let's see what else they got. Other in this one, they got a bunch of other stuff mixed
Yep,
in.
October 16th.
That doesn't make sense for it to be a November game. That's
No, it doesn't. But hey,
but
they are releasing.
There's a slot.
They're doing 2 large releases in
October
July.
16th.
Yeah. Yeah,
And so I don't
one's
know
a new
why they
game, one's an
wouldn't-
update, so that makes sense.
Right, but they have. I mean, they've been pushing Jamboree TV and the Nintendo Switch 2 edition really, really hard since the
Yeah.
very beginning. So it's almost like they're trying to push it like a new game. But I don't know. Maybe I still think that Metroid has that, that November window, possibly.
Oh, we still have Prime
Could
4
be
to
could be early August.
slot somewhere.
Could be early August because it's
Yeah.
not until the end of August that we get Kirby.
Yeah, so you've got a kind of little window there. The other piece of Splatoon 3 or Splatoon news that you need to be aware of is that Splatoon 3 now has a Nintendo Switch 2 update, which has introduced 30 new weapons from 2 labels, I guess, or creators. Updated stage rotations, including the return of Urchin Underpass from Splatoon 1, and just basically a shinier coat of paint for Nintendo Switch 2. And I'm going to be willing to bet they also patched out that glitch or whatever from from Splatoon 3 when the Switch 2 launched that was allowing players to win pretty easily. There was an exploit that people discovered.
Oh, wow. I hope so.
Only could happen on Switch 2, and I bet you they patched that out as well. But that is now available. Today was the day for that new update. And so if you are a Splatoon 3 fan, go check it out. Let us know what the update makes it run better. What it does, besides just a new stage and some new weapons that look different and have different special attacks. I wonder if has it been confirmed, does Splatoon 3 have mouse controls now? Does it have mouse aiming?
I don't remember that part of the announcement.
No, I'm saying did it? Well, I mean, did it have it already, or did it?
It didn't call it out.
Gotcha. It would be interesting to see if they added that too. Okay, and our last, I guess, news item this week is Nintendo has announced that some Switch 2 units may not show the correct battery charge level, and it has offered multiple ways to fix it. There is now an entry on the support site that Nintendo has published. The easiest method, though, however, is to access recovery mode or recovery menu by doing a full power off and turning the system back on while holding the volume plus and the volume minus buttons at the same time. And once that menu has been accessed, you can press the power button to shut the system off again and one more time to turn it back on. And that's supposed to kind of recalibrate the battery.
Right.
Have you either of y'all had this happen?
I don't know if I had the issue, but I went through the steps anyway, just in case.
Yeah,
I since I have my system docked most of the time, I enabled.
I have not done it yet. I need to try it.
I enabled the option to not charge more than 90%, and that part seems to work. I undocked it a bit during pre-show to play some Picross, and it showed 89%. So I'm like, okay, cool, that worked.
Yep.
Awesome.
I have not run into that issue yet either, or did not, but I still did it anyways, these steps. And I also have mine set to the 90% charge. I've been playing quite a bit and I haven't run in enough to run the battery down to give me a warning yet. And Solo in our community said he ran into the issue where he was playing and then the system just turned off because he ran out of battery power and did not get a warning like we would get on the Switch 1. So it'd be interesting to see if if I play one of these days just continuously and run into that same issue or not.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I noticed when I was playing in handheld mode, that thing is, again, I got used to the original Switch. This is larger. I couldn't find a comfortable way to hold it. I might have to get one of those grips y'all are talking about. But, again, I very rarely do that, so may not be needed.
What's crazy to me about the Switch 2 is I knew it was going to be bigger, but I didn't expect it to be as large as it was. And yesterday, when I was setting up the one for our church, I had to move like the dock and everything, around. And I hadn't messed with a Switch 1 in like a week. I'd gotten used to the Switch 2 at this point. And I was like, I just picked up the tablet by itself. I had the Joy-Cons detached, and I was like, holy cow. This thing really, it's like a toy. Like it's a toy version of the Switch now.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. We'll talk a little bit more about impressions. Because I have an interesting question I want to ask you guys when we get to that. What our community responded about their thoughts on having it a week or two. Before we get to that, let's round out our news here with some release updates. Just some things you need to be aware of. Coming up next Monday, Gex Trilogy launches. If you remember those old games, they're going to be out on Switch. I do not think there's a Switch 2 version of that, but Gex Trilogy is coming, and I think there's some people who have nostalgia for that. Everything is out on June 17th on the Switch. No Switch 2 version. Also that day, Lost in Random, the sequel to Lost in Random 1. This one's called The Eternal Die. That will be out with just a regular Switch version.
So you got one game that Tim's looking for and one game I'm looking for.
Yeah, yes. Right? Front Mission 3 Remake, June 26th. Tamagotchi Plaza, both the Switch 2 and Switch version on June 27th. And then looking ahead to July, Patapon 1 and 2 Replay for Switch will be out on July 11th. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 will be out for Switch and Switch 2 on July 11th. Donkey Kong Bonanza on July 17th, as we've already mentioned. And also, as we've already mentioned, Super Mario Party Jamboree Nintendo Switch 2 Edition plus Jamboree TV. And yes, I'm going to say that every time I say it from now on. This is
Galaxy
out on
Edition.
July 24th. Yeah, might as well go ahead and add Galaxy Edition to that. And then looking ahead, I mean, we've got, several big releases. Madden in August and Pokemon Legends in October. Dragon Quest 1 and 2 at the end of October. Mina the Hollower on October 31st. And a sad bit of news here on our release schedule. The Legend of Zelda movie was announced this week to be pushed back to May 7th of 2027.
Just a couple months.
Yeah.
Well, there was also, in addition, you mentioned Mina the Hollower. That was announced last week during Summer Games Fest, is announced date. And then there's 2 new games announced to come out next year that will be on Switch and or Switch 2. I don't think they've specified which one yet. But Planet of Lana 2, I think that was a Justin game, the first one. And a Scott Pilgrim EX, a new Scott Pilgrim brawler.
Yes.
The same pixely art style. So those
and also, Mikey, listener Mikey Burgett reminds us that Backyard Baseball, the revival of Backyard Baseball, is out now. So if you were a fan of the Backyard Baseball back in the day, it's back. You can go play it on the Switch and on your Switch too, I guess, as well.
So Tim and I did the live reaction to the Xbox showcase, and literally the only game, we jokingly called it the also on PlayStation but not on Switch showcase, because almost everything is coming to PlayStation.
On PlayStation but not Switch.
Yeah, there's 2 games announced for Switch, Mina and Planet of Lana, and then pretty much literally the one game that I'm interested in is Persona 4 Remake coming out, or I think they called it Persona 4 Revive. Not on Switch but on Xbox and PlayStation. I'm looking forward to that one.
I kind of feel like maybe Nintendo is saving some of those announcements.
That's what we were thinking. We think Nintendo wanted to control the messages on a lot of these, so we'll announce it in next week's not announced direct.
And that irritates me. That just irritates me. Like, come on, Nintendo. Like, let these third parties announce it.
Tim, if they didn't do that...
That takes some of the air out of the other competitor's thing, right?
If they didn't do that, then we would get 25 minutes of Dragon Grandpa again in the middle of E3.
Yeah, true.
And that nobody wants that. Nobody, even people who like
Dragon
Xenoblade,
Grandpa.
Nobody wants to hear Dragon Grandpa talk about you can fly around on my back.
Back in my day,
Yep, there you go. Back to my day. We played a Nintendo Switch and had a dragon grandpa. Uh, hey, listen, you can as usual, you can see a lot of these upcoming releases on our YouTube channel. If you're not following us, just go over to youtube.com/Nintendo Dads. You can see we've got a ton of content up from this past week, including a lot of videos that dropped today. If you haven't seen those yet, it really, y'all, I'll be honest with you, it was dependent on me coming home and figuring out how to make Nintendo Switch 2 work with my recording setup, which ended up me having to get a brand new capture card because it wouldn't work with the old one. It would not recognize that as a TV output for audio, because that's new. If you go to the audio section, it'll show you where the audio is coming out, depending on whether it's docked or in handheld, and it would not switch over to TV audio. So with this new capture card, it finally did. Everything else worked.
Yeah, we think Justin's got to do the same thing because apparently in his Cyberpunk video there was no game audio.
Yeah,
Oh,
it sucks.
And I don't understand. I didn't do anything to mine. I even used the old cable, which everybody was talking about not doing.
Mm-hmm.
I used the cable I had from my original Switch to the Switch 2.
Well, I hope your time's not coming. Because I really like that AverMedia capture card.
Yeah.
It's done me good for 7 years. And maybe that's the problem.
It was a very good capture card, yeah.
Maybe that's the problem is it's 7 years old. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, I still have anyway, I still have both capture cards connected to my PC from when I did the my video last week and had both the Switch and the Switch 2 shown at the same time.
Yeah, so we've got that. We've got Civilization 7 graphics and mouse controls videos up. We've just had videos up today of the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade for Hogwarts Legacy and the Street Fighter 6 on the Switch. There's unboxing videos. There's all kinds of content over there if you've not gone and checked it out. And that is the end of our news. Let's discuss, shall we? All right. So we have had Nintendo Switch 2 in our hands for exactly 7 days. And now that it's in our hands,
and now we must rest.
It's time to go to bed. What we wanted to do is we wanted to know your thoughts as a community. What are you thinking 7 days in? If you've had it since launch day or you've had it for more than a few days, we would love to know your thoughts. We said we would share these on the show. And so here we go. Here's some responses we got. Koopa Kid 80 said 3.5 million Switches sold. Congrats, Nintendo. My household has been loving the Switch 2. Even though right now there are not that many Switch 2 exclusives that are specifically for us, the backwards compatibility in Mario Kart World will definitely hold us until DK and Summer Game releases. It's basically what I wanted. A more powerful, slightly bigger, premium handheld device. We're all excited for the next 7-8 years of Switch 2. Here we go.
Ooh, that kind of glitched out.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, he's happy with it. Hoots says, I'm honestly pretty mixed on Switch 2 at the moment. Pros. Bigger, better, badder Switch 1. Mouse mode equals more options. Backwards compatibility makes old games even better. And Rainbow Road is sweet. I'll agree. Cons. Mario Kart World is closer to being Mario Kart 9 than it is a Mario Kart Horizon. Virtual game cards. Physical Switch 2 game cases are ugly. Expensive storage. Can't interchange Switch 1 and 2 docks. Lots of hidden costs. Games, accessories, etc. And it's a Switch Pro. And he says the performance boost alone is probably enough to overshadow most everything else. But it's definitely not all sunshine and rainbows. With 3 Switches in the house now VGCs no longer allow Nintendo to be plug-and-play option like they've always been, or like they always seem to have been for me. I'm glad they're successful, but I kind of want something to humble Nintendo again. Tim, you're on mute.
One of the things I want to jump in on real quick is the physical Switch 2 game cases, he said, were ugly. This is where people come in and, you know, hey, this stuff sucks, I'm going to make my own type mentality. So if you think this sucks, Make something. Design something. Sell it. Start a Kickstarter. Make something better.
I honestly
Just
feel
don't
like
get taken down by Nintendo.
Yeah,
what
true.
he's referring to, I think, is that it just a lot of those games have those awful like box warnings on them. You know, like this has so many downloads, or this is this, or this empty box, or whatever. Like in the last generation,
Game key card.
Oh, sorry.
game key
I
card.
misunderstood that. So, okay, I see.
I mean, I don't.
I thought he
I
was
mean,
talking
even
about
some-
cases that would hold your games.
No. I think he's talking about those warnings.
He's talking about the
boxes.
individual,
The retail
physical-
cases.
The retail cases.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He doesn't like.
And I
the
mean,
big
he's
red
got some.
banner at the
He's
top.
definitely got some points
Yes.
there, both for pros and cons. I mean, we'll talk about that here in just a second. But I thought we would get everybody else's comments out of the way first. Blurpy
Sure.
says, "I'm not impressed with Switch 2. To me, it's just a Switch Pro. A bigger screen is good. Still plays Switch 1 games. The battery life situation really needs to be addressed quickly, but has a lot of potential, and that is why I bought it early. Patience is the key here. In a year or two, it will probably look a lot different. These are my impressions from handheld only. I have yet to dock it." And then Sarge from Super Gamecraft says, "I just wish we had a Meteor launch title, like how the PS5 had Demon Souls and Switch 1 had Breath of the Wild. I love Mario Kart to death, but it's been a week and I have already done everything, got everything unlocked, done all the content except mirror mode and the P-switches."
Nice.
So, kind of split 50-50 at least. How are we feeling, guys, after a week of having this in the hand? What do we think? What are your thoughts?
So, having not played a lot of Switch 2 games yet, most of my time had been playing the Picross game and playing the Wind Waker on the GameCube app, which I guess you can call that a Switch 2 app, but it's not really a Switch 2 game. But still, it's still what I wanted. Just, I wanted a more powerful Switch because the old one was showing its age. My old computer needed to be replaced because it was showing us its age. So it's time to do both at the same time, I guess. So I'm happy with it.
Yeah, for me, it's I'm always one for buying the next best thing. That's what I did with OLED. When the OLED came out, I was ready to buy that one. It was an upgrade. And this here is an upgrade, which now has the capability of playing the next level games once they start bringing those out. We're getting a taste of it with Mario Kart World. We'll probably get more of a taste with the Donkey Kong game. And as we keep going more and more into this this new system, we'll get probably better games. I bought it for Metroid Prime 4 because I wanted to play the best looking version of that game, and that was going to be on Switch 2. Yes, you'll be able to play it on Switch, and if I wasn't able to get the Switch 2, I would have played it on the Switch. But I was thankful I was able to get a Switch 2 because I want to play Metroid Prime 4 on the best available system, and that is a Switch 2. And like I mentioned in the pre-show, I mentioned that somebody asked me at work, should I buy a Switch 2? And I said, they asked me why I got it and all that kind of stuff. And then they said, should I buy it because I have a Switch? And I said, well, if there's games on the Switch 2 you want to play coming out, then yes, get a Switch 2. But if you're happy with what you got on the Switch and there's nothing that you have to play that version on the Switch 2, then keep your Switch. Get the Switch 2 when you got a game that you want to play on it coming out. Then get that. So,
yeah, I think that's pretty wise, right? I mean, like I look at it as I felt like, I wanted it. I wanted a Switch 2 from the minute that they revealed it. I was like, yep, I'm in.
Right.
Even with the price, I'm in. And but I also kind of feel like that part of that may be because I'm on the show.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, I don't want to get left behind. It's like, why didn't I just pick up my Switch 2 a week later, instead of staying up till 2 a.m. before I had to leave on a big trip? Because I don't want to get left behind. Right.
Can I say this too? If we weren't on the show, I still would have got a Switch, but I probably would not have bought the camera.
Oh, I know I wouldn't have bought the camera.
And I probably would not have bought Welcome Tour.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't have bought Welcome to Her either. I'm gonna talk when we get to what we've been playing.
I might have bought it later though, but
Sure.
just because everybody talking about it or whatever. But
Yeah.
I probably would not have bought it right away.
Yeah, I agree with that. And
So
and I
there's
want
just certain things
to
I wouldn't have
say
bought.
too that like I agree with Hoots about the hidden costs. Like guys, think about this. If you win, like let's just start doing this. Okay, so you buy the system, right? That's $500 because you want the bundle, right? You want a game. Then you got to buy a screen protector. Well, Film sells those in a 2-pack for $10, $11. So now we're at 510, 511. Then you got to get a case. And I managed to find a case on Amazon that I really like for $20. Okay, so now we're at
530.
530. Then I got to get a camera. Okay, so now we're at
That's
555.
55, so it's 585.
Okay, and then I got a Pro controller.
That's 90.
That's 94.
Yeah,
No,
so
84. 84, sorry. It's 84.
So 85 to make the numbers easier at 670.
Yeah. And that's without me even buying a game. Oh, but you need a Micro Express card because your old one doesn't work. And you got a lot of games waiting.
So that was 65.
We know
Now
there's
we're
on
at
back. So 75.
Yours was 75. Mine was 65. But
Well, after tax, it was 75.
okay. Well, I haven't included any taxes on anything else yet.
Oh, okay. Okay, then do 65.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're at 735.
Yep. And then, but I wanted Cyberpunk too. 69. So there you go.
805.
$805
And none
already
of
on
that's-
this launch.
And then depending on what your tax rate is, like it's
And
almost
that's not that's not counting the tax, and that's also not counting that I had to buy a new capture card to make this, like to actually make videos for the show. So, and it was $120 after tax. I mean, right there, we're already at $1,000, right?
Yeah.
And I understand console launches only come along every now and then, but like, we're not at a level. This is going to sound really jerky when I say this, but I don't mean it in a like douchey way when I say this. Please don't hear. But like, I think it's the position that we're in because we're on the show. I'm not at a position where I can just walk in and go, yeah, I just want the console and the game that comes with it. You get what I'm saying?
right. Oh,
You get
Yes.
you get what I mean? Like I can't just slip in there and be like, oh, yep, I'm done. 500. That's it. Which, by the way, is actually more like 546 with our taxes in our state. Yeah, I totally get it. A weekend, I love this thing. I already mentioned that the old Switch felt like a toy when I picked it up, but I didn't mention that one of the other things I thought was this feels so primitive. Like sliding in the Joy-Cons to lock them in place now, like, boop, snap them in, we're good to go. It's a whole lot easier. And it just feels a whole lot better. It feels a premium. But at the same time, I definitely wanted a screen protector on it. I wanted to be sure that it was taken care of. And the minute that Ginky or whoever, Cracked, the minute that Cracked introduces a Nitro deck for this, I'm all in, right?
Yes.
I'm 100 billion% in because I got addicted to playing that way. But anyway.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's
So-
going to be interesting to see how Crack does that, if they even do that.
Yeah, because with the magnets and everything, it's not gonna slide down in there anymore.
Right.
It would almost, I feel like it would have to be like two halves that come to, you put one half on, you put the other half
Kind of
on.
slides, maybe a slider type thing.
But yeah, I mean, like, I've said this on the show leading up to this, is like Nintendo gave us most of everything that we asked for, and then when they gave us most of everything we asked for, people went, "What are you doing? This is not what I wanted. It's too expensive. Oh, what are you doing, Nintendo? Nintendo's doomed." you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, even with like the game key cards, I get that people are upset. I still don't understand why they're upset about it, other than the whole physical thing. At least you could trade them, or sell them back with
Yeah.
this. At least it's helping. I mean, it's like people are like, we want more for third party games. Okay, well, this is how we have to do it. No, we want more third party games, but not that way.
Yeah.
So I get it and I don't. But I'm perfectly happy with this. I think that somebody said something about Blurpy said patience is the key. Imagine what this will be in a year or two, guys.
Yes.
Because that's when Switch really got rolling. Right about year 2, year 3. Imagine what this machine's going to be able to do. I was blown. I'm going to say this when we talk about what we've been playing, and this is a good segue to that, I guess. Is I'm blown away by some of the third party games I've already played. That is running on a Switch on a Nintendo console. So I say kudos, Nintendo. I'm excited. I think I'm done for a while as far as spinning. Like, I've got plenty of games because we did get codes. I
Yeah.
mean, like, I've got Hogwarts Legacy to get into, and Street Fighter 6 and Sonic and Shadow, uh, Cyberpunk that I bought myself, Welcome Tour, and Mario Kart World, all from this launch. And I haven't even booted up Sonic yet
Right.
because
Yeah.
I was going to do a video on it, and then somebody else did one. And so I'm just like, what?
Yep.
Anyway, long story short.
There's a lot of content there.
Yeah. Let's. How about we just do this? Let's segue and let's talk about what we've been playing.
All right.
And the reason I wanted to go ahead and segue into that is that a lot of what we've been playing is exclusively Nintendo Switch 2 games, right? I mean, we've got a few that aren't there. But hey, before we do that, we played some special music because we have a super special secret surprise guest on the show this week. We've got Nick Pompa with us from Loot Lock, and you might not have heard of Loot Lock before, but what they are is a service that helps you manage your gaming budget. And after I just listed out all of the expenditures that I just made on Nintendo Switch 2, maybe I need Loot Lock. I mean, I will say my loot is already locked. It's called, my wife looked at me the other day and said, if you buy one more thing. So, Nick, why don't introduce yourself? Tell us who you are. Tell us about Loot Lock. We are glad to have you on the show. But tell us what's going on with Loot Lock.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you guys for having me on the show. I'm Nick. I am the father of 2 twin girls. They're both under 2, so we're not gaming yet.
Wow.
We're eyeing that Pock though. I think that might be coming soon on the tablet. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Pock. So yeah, that's one of the tap games, like teaching games on the iOS.
Okay.
Yeah.
All this newfangled stuff for kids now. What's going on?
I what was I, like 7, I think, when I got the Nintendo. I think that was the first kind of introduction for me. Grandma was like, one birthday, she just brought it, and then it was game over from there.
Nice.
So Loot Lock is kind of something that came out of almost a necessity. So what Loot Lock is, it's a spend control platform for you to manage the online video game spend of your kids. Like, you all have heard the horror stories. Everybody's got one. The kid parent loads a credit card into the game. Kid does one too many taps on Robux or V-Bucks, and there goes the monthly budget. $300, $400 later, you're trying to get a charge back, or you're trying to get a refund from the game company. So what we're kind of doing is like it's a two-faced platform. It's like, from the parent side, it's financial kind of safety, right? Your loot's always protected. The kid can never spend more money than they have loaded into their wallet. They get a virtual credit card that they use that's preloaded. And that acts as their like gaming budget. You put their allowance on there, you set budgets, you set what games you want them to play, and then the kid gets the freedom to spend their budget the way they want. And then on the flip side, it's like a lightweight RPG we're building for the kids. So they get an avatar, they level up, they unlock gear with financial literacy. So really, it's a financial literacy platform in disguise that we're using gamification to kind of entice the kids to come back in and keep uh, checking their balance, tagging their transactions, saving 15 to 20% of their allowance. Right? If they can do those three things by the time they hit 15, 16, get their first checking or credit card, that they're going to be better than 95% of the kids the same age group. Right? So that's where we're going. We're just a small team, just all building this on the side, just out of necessity. Yeah, we'll look forward to feedback if anybody wants to come see what we're building, lootlock.com, and we love talking to parents and gamers to see kind of how we can improve.
I'm just
That's what
checking your website right now, and man, this is really cool. I love the idea of this, of the gamification of it, because it honestly, for kids who are learning financial responsibility, if it's not fun, they're not doing it,
Yeah.
right? And so this adds another layer to like something like I've seen those green light cards, where it's
Uh,
like you have that, but this is another layer to that with the avatar and the leveling up and stuff, and giving some incentives. It's just a really cool package. And so tell us, like, where did the inspiration for this begin?
yeah. So I would say last year I'm over at one of my old boss's house. He has three boys, and they're 5, like 7, like 12. And I see one of the boys giving him cash, that giving the dad cash. I'm like, what are you doing? They're like, they're using their allowance so they can buy it on Robux. And I was like, there's got to be a better system that you can manage the spend of the games. He's like, there's nothing that's good in market that's tailored towards the video games. Like this is and then it was like I was already looking for something to do on the side, and I come from a fintech background. I come from a gaming background, so it just like clicked. So I was just like off to the races, building towards that one use case for those three boys. So that's kind of where the inspiration came from. But then I also thought about it more, and I was like, I could actually help people. There's a lot of families that can't afford $200, $300 of a Robux or V-Bucks mistakes. Like the first tier of our platform is free. Like we'll generate virtual cards for you to use for the 2 cards for the kids at no cost, just to protect your bank account from the microtransactions, right? And protecting it from the games that got a little sleazy, I want to say, in some cases on how they're doing some of how
yeah.
easy it is to make those purchases. So looking to help some people in need if they need it. And then if not, we have a bunch of cool automation and gamification that's coming. I would say we're a starter to Greenlight. Like we have a lot deeper integrations than Greenlight does for parent controls, and we're working towards even deeper ones. But we targeted kids at a younger age than Greenlight does. Like we're thinking like 5 or 6, like they can start kind of getting their account here. The avatars, like everything's kind of tailored towards that younger age group.
Yeah, and that is what I'm seeing, at least with my own kids. I mean, they're 18 and 17 now, but like 6 to 7 ish. I'm thinking timing there. What they were getting, they had an iPad. They had a. I know we had my son. He had a 2DS, and just the whole back and forth with that. Like like can we get this game? Okay, well, you know, then give me some money. Because we're trying to teach the allowance thing and all that. And now the cool, I mean, like, I wish that something like this kind of had been around then, because
That's what I
this would
said
have
when
been
we
a
talked.
this would have been a precursor to a checking account. That my kids now both have checking accounts and savings accounts, and there have been fumbles and missteps with that because they didn't have something like this that they could check in. Of course, like even the concept of green light, like I mentioned and you mentioned, that wasn't even around when we were setting up like the initial all that.
Yeah.
That's all. Even all of this is brand new. But I love how you add that layer again on top of it, make it a little fun, make it a little something they want to look at. So that there is, I mean, at the core of this, it's twofold, right? Like saving your wallet as a parent, but also teaching.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it, is you're teaching good habits.
Yeah, yeah. The saving the wallet was the easy part. The financial literacy without realizing that you're learning, like that's the tricky part. So that's where we kind of went full in on the game mode and like we're building 3D avatars with like 3D like it's going to feel rewarding as the kids coming in and doing this. That's like the challenge to make them want to come back and keep doing it. But
Yeah.
yeah, the other thing that's coming too that I'm most excited about are bounties. So we have a bounty board that the parents can put wanted posters up on, clean your room, take out the trash. When they do those activities in real life, they get additional allowance in their wallet to game with. So we have
That's cool.
the bounties system is going to be pretty cool. It's just us rebranding chores, but in a cool game way.
I'm gonna implement this in the household now. Just even though everybody's still 17, 20, 50.
Yeah, we were at PAX recently, and like we got three things constantly. It was like, where was this 10 years ago? Like
Yes.
my kid blew up my bank account 4 weeks ago. I wish I knew about this. And then we had the kids come into the booth, and there was literally a kid that walked up the booth and said, "I spent $2,000 on V-Bucks last week. Like if my mom knew about this, I'd be dead." Like I was just like,
Holy
you
cow.
go get your mom right now. You bring her to the booth. We need to have a conversation.
Yeah.
I more than that, like I mean, let's go to that place. Like, what world are we living in where you spent $2,000 on V-Bucks and nobody noticed?
Yeah, I think if I ever
Wow.
did that, like I'd be getting the belt and I'd be bruised for like a week. Like
I won't be able to sit down.
yeah, my dad would not have. One, we would have never gave me the credit card, but two, that would have never
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
Summer of working off the payment.
my solution to all of this is I never let my kids use my credit card for any of this. And
Yeah.
when they got their own checking account and their own debit card, then they can use whatever money they want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Nick, can you kind of describe for us? Like, I know you already mentioned there's like a bottom tier where it's free. You'll issue the card. What are the other tiers look like
Yep.
for this system?
So second tier is the only other tier that's unlocked right now because we don't have enough feature functionality for the third tier yet. But the second tier is $2 a month. $2 a month per kid, and you get automatic. Like we'll do everything for you. Like you set up a budget, you set up an auto allowance, you set up auto. It's like all the automation that comes with it. The bounties are going to unlock with that one, but you get all the automation that we built into the platform. For the free tier, we generate you 2 cards. You load them whenever on your cadence, right? So you have to manage when you give the allowance. But for $2, you could set up a recurring allowance. You could set up the budget. And you can set up your auto replenishment rules so it like reloads your parent account to fund your kid's account. So like once it's set up, it's just you're good to go and you can just watch as your kids spend and what their habits are.
Cool.
Their habits.
Man, that's really affordable.
So-
I mean,
It's crazy to see. So there's a couple different buckets that kids fall into. Like sometimes before it's their money, like they'll just spend it, right? But
Yeah.
the thing that I've been seeing is like once you give them their like own money and they have to decide on how to use it, like 60% of the kids that are using this are saving it. Like they don't want to spend it because now it's theirs.
Yeah.
So it's just like something clicks when it's like it's their own money, and like their entire like ethos around money management changes, which is what we're trying to aim for.
It's amazing.
yeah. That's awesome, man. And I would love all of our listeners to head over the website simple lootlock.com. You can go over and check it out right now. There's some graphics there that you can see as to what it's actually going to look like. And man, that like like you said, where was this? Right?
Yep.
This would have been super helpful for me when my kids were younger.
And now we can help the parents of the
Yes.
future.
Yeah.
That's right.
to
And I mean,
take
we
care
do.
of-
I mean, being Nintendo dads, we travel in the parent sphere a lot. So I mean, that's really cool. We love to be able to pass on services like this that are helpful for parents, especially gaming related stuff. So, man, when do y'all expect that other tier to maybe roll out? Do you have a kind of projected date?
Yeah. So the first tier, the pay tier is already out there. The second paid tier, what we're aiming for is a deeper integration with Visa and MasterCard. And when we get that tier, there's a couple features that are coming that are going to be worth an extra $2 on top of that. One of them is going to be able to set at the game level how much you want to spend at a cadence, like what games you want them to play. So like right now, the way the platform works is we let them spend anything game related, but you can't use these cards on anything non-game related. But it's a high level umbrella. In 2 months, you'll be able to select the individual game company that you want them to spend and even set a budget for that game on a weekly or monthly basis. So that you could go and be like, you can only spend $5 this week on V-Bucks, $5 on Robux, and that's it. So once we get that deeper integration with the credit cards, the parents are going to have full control. And then the other thing we're going to do for parents that really want to control every dollar out is a pre-approval. You could say for your kids, for Roblox, you could spend $10 over the next 72 hours for one purchase, right? So you pre-approve all the purchases ahead of time,
Okay.
and then they can only spend if there's a pre-approval. That's like the ones that want to watch every dollar out. And so that's what's coming with the top tier, which we call legendary. We kind of did it like Diablo style, common, epic, legendary.
I love
I'm a big Blizzard guy, or a Blizzard gamer, at least in my later years now. I've played a lot of World of Warcraft, so we kind of tailored the tiers to like Blizzard, but like everything in the platform has like a game related theme to it. And so you'll feel that as throughout the platform, even from the avatars you select for the kids.
That's cool. So, like, just for instance, with that tier, you can say you can spend $10 from Epic Games. So, if you want to go to Fortnite, but we're not allowing you to spend any of this on Robux.
Yeah, correct. So like
I love that.
because some parents like Roblox has kind of went downhill this last it's always been downhill, but these last 2 to 3 years, like parents are really like, this is not the environment I want my kids in. So if you wanted to prevent them from buying, like you could just cut that merchant out and they wouldn't be able to spend there.
Yes.
So and then we have instant real-time notifications. So like any purchases your kids make immediately on an SMS to you on your phone or email. And then we tell you of any purchases that we blocked with our protection automatically as well. And then the coolest thing, which is the biggest time saver, is your kids can request additional funds from inside their view. It shows up via SMS. And if you respond yes to the SMS, it will fund their request. So they don't have to come get you, beg you for money. You put your card in, fund their account. You can do the whole thing from just like an easy 2-click workflow over your phone. So
love that.
Yeah. So what's
The
coming
easier it
shortly
can be, the better.
is the kids view. We don't have the kids dashboard yet. We will in the next like 15 days, and then bounties will be 15 days after that, and we'll just keep on releasing features. We're a small team of 4 people just doing this on the side on nights and weekends, but anybody that wants to chat or engage with us, we love feedback. So if you hit that chat box on the website, it goes right to me. Hit me up on any of the social medias. I am hyper responsive when it comes to Loot Lock.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, Nick, thanks for stopping by and letting us get a preview of this. Super cool service. Again, this is a gaming budget for your kids that saves your wallet. And so, if you have any kids in your house that use any kind of online services that require payment for gaming, you need to go check out lootlock.com. That's LOOTLOCK. And Nick, we wish you much success, you and your team. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
We got the business stuff out of the way, but you're more than welcome to stay and hang out and talk gaming stuff with us.
Definitely can. I did manage. I got super lucky. So I was one of those people that did not pre-order, but I was on the Costco website randomly 2 days after, and the add to cart it showed up. So I got one for my team in the office, and we hooked it up yesterday. And we were playing some Mario Kart. I got the one with I think you were talking about it earlier, with the scratch inside code inside the box. Yeah, it was pretty. The magnets were stronger than I expected. Like when it's docked, I am struggling to not break. Like I feel like I'm gonna break it when it's docked, trying to pull the controllers off. It's like you have to give it some force. I was very surprised.
I've shown people at my work about this too. It's like I'm holding it by the side that's holding it by the magnets. I'm just holding it by the Joy-Con right now, dangling it by the Joy-Con with the magnets, and it's wiggling it around. Nothing's popping out.
If it fell right now, I would laugh so hard.
Yeah, right.
I would be sad for you, but I would laugh like, it's holding, clunk. What's your impression so far on Mario Kart?
Oh, I love Mario Kart. That's like one of my favorites. I'd say my favorite game, what I'm waiting for, and I'm hoping we get one, is Monster Hunter. I love Monster Hunter
Oh
on the
Oh,
yeah.
handheld.
there'll
Like
definitely be one somewhere.
yeah, I don't think they're gonna put Wilds on it because Wilds just doesn't run good on any system, including PC. So I don't think they're gonna try to port that to because that would be a nightmare. But I think eventually, I hope we do get like a dedicated Monster Hunter for the Switch.
It seems like they go for building a dedicated Monster Hunter for Nintendo systems.
Yeah.
That's what it seems
And
like.
the one that they did sold pretty well, right? The
Yeah.
what was it called? I can't. I know Sunbreak was the DLC, but I can't remember what
Right.
the actual
Rise.
Rise. Is the
Rise,
first
Monster
one, yeah.
Hunter Rise. Yeah,
hmm
yeah, it did really
I
well.
was looking over to see if I could see my box.
Yeah,
Still
I've been
Yeah.
playing
over
Monster
there.
Hunter since the PSP on like a hacked version from Japan, like way back in the day where I had to like yeah,
Yeah.
I had to load it, side load it to get it to work. But it's always
Nice.
been a pretty good handheld game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we were just about to talk about what we've been playing, and usually when we do that, if we have a guest, you get to go first. So, besides Mario Kart, what have you been playing?
Yeah, so when I have time, I'm working like three jobs between the twins, the girls, and my full job. Sunday nights I get 2 hours once a week. And me and my friends have been going through BG3 on the
Okay.
Oh
PC,
yeah. Yeah.
and it's probably been a year. And I think we're finally in Act 3 because we're all dads. We all have kids that are like 4 and under.
Yep.
So like most of the time we have to cancel because something's going on. Someone's not going down for bed. But that's what I've
Of
been
course.
playing most recently. And then World of Warcraft sucks me in. Like every time there's a major content release, I go back for a little bit.
Nice. Yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is how I played it too, with a couple other friends here in the community as well. So
Yeah.
three of us would get together like once every week or every 2 weeks, or like you said, sometimes things happen, so you got to cancel. But that's how we got through it after several months. We
Yeah.
finally beat it, so
It's-
it was fun. It's
Yeah.
definitely fun to play with friends for sure.
Yeah, the quality of the game and the writing in that game, and like
Yes.
the replayability is just fascinating as well. Like you can play it on 20, 30 different ways and have a different experience.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Well, let's shoot over to Tim. You've got this list of games that you have. In
It's
our
just a
dock
lot of
that you've been
words.
playing.
It's just a lot of words.
So if what we'll do is if there's one that pops up that you're talking about, Tim, that the others have been playing, we'll chime in as well.
Sure.
Save a few minutes. How about that?
Yeah, and I'm not going to go into detail about them because most of these are a lot of first looks, things
Yeah.
that I will be playing more of, hopefully, but a lot of
Sure.
it is a lot of first looks. So one of them being the Kunitsu-Gami Path of the Goddess. That's the Capcom game, made by the same director and artist from Into the Deep, I think it was called, or Into the Depths. The other underwater Capcom game that I really
Yes.
liked a couple
Yes.
years back. The art style is like,
Shinsekai, right?
yeah, thank you, Shinsekai. That game, I love that, and that art when I saw this come up for this one, the Kunitsu-Gami game, was like that art looks just like the art I saw in the other game, and it was. So I was playing that. That is I want to say it's a roguelite tower defense type game. But yeah, there's a first look out on it on our channel, on our YouTube channel. Go check that out. I'm definitely going to play some more so I can talk about it better. So, because there's a lot going on in that game. Sid Meier's Civilization 7 Nintendo Switch 2 edition. I had Civ 7 on the Switch originally because I wanted to play it portably. And so when they talked about it coming out for the Nintendo Switch 2, or that edition coming out for it with the mouse controls, I wanted to try it. So there is a first look of that out as well. And you definitely can tell the difference in graphics with now the Switch 2 versus the Switch. It is more closer to the other consoles and even PC, especially with the mouse controls. And you can do multiplayer, cross-platform, and all that kind of stuff now. I don't believe you could do that with the original Switch one. So go check out that first look. Also did a first look on Fast Fusion, which is a racing, the sequel to Fast RMX, which I called out in that first look I did. Is I got Fast RMX on day one of Switch 1 when that came out. So I got Fast Fusion on day one when I got the Switch 2. So again, it's like a Wipeout F-Zero cross game where you're, racing very fast. And in this particular version of the game, you can actually fuse your vehicles that you use together to create a new vehicle and race with that. So I'll be playing more of that and trying more of that as well. But again, there's a first look of that out. Another first look I did was Hitman World of Assassination Signature Edition, because of the Season of High Stakes 007 thing that they have going on this summer, where you actually can you have to assassinate Le Chiffre, which is the bad guy, the main bad guy in Casino Royale. You actually go after him, and it's voiced by the same actor who did Le Chiffre in the Casino Royale. He was in the not Game Awards, the Summer Fest, Game Fest. He actually came up on stage. Mads, I think, forget his last name.
Nicholson?
Yes, thank you. Mads Nicholson was on there, so talking about it, and 007, and that's one of my favorite bad guys in 007 movies, so I had to play that and try that out. There's a first look of that out there. I actually got the kill on the playthrough, because it's a quick playthrough. I should say it's an hour playthrough of that particular assassination, but you can go back in and see if you can do better, get better stars, and all that kind of stuff. Also played Mario Kart World, which I'm sure we're all going to be talking about, so I'll skip that one. I played Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch 2 Edition upgrade pack, because of course I had the game. I hadn't been playing it since 2023, but I was able to jump back into the game with my same save file. The only problem was trying to remember what the heck I had to do when I jumped back into it. But I also played it with the Zelda notes on the Nintendo Switch app, which was very handy, and I enjoyed doing all that stuff with the medals and that you get with the Switch app and all that fun stuff. So again, there is a first look of that as well, where I show the actual app along with the game on checking those things out. And started playing Ruffy in the Riverside. It is a platformer where you kind of use a cut and paste type mechanic. And I'm going to be doing a first look of that, so I'll be talking about that probably more next week. And of course, we're all been playing.
That character looks a lot like Plock. I can't put my finger on it, but he looks.
Oh yeah, it does.
Very much like Plock.
Yeah, it does. It's a bear with a hood on.
Yeah, but it's still like the eye. I think it's the eyes.
It's probably the eyes. But also, I've been playing Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which looks like we all been playing as well.
Can we just go ahead and talk about?
Yeah, let's go ahead and jump into Welcome Tour.
Oh man, I've not spent too terribly long with it. I'm off the left Joy-Con and onto the tablet itself.
That's where
and I don't know that I have a lot of good to say about it. Maybe it's because I'm in a class this summer, but I'm like, earlier I was doing it, and my daughter was watching me because she was building the Lego set she got for her birthday, and she's like, "What is this game?" I was like, "It's a Nintendo Switch Tour Welcome Tour. It's like a tutorial to the system." She's like, "Oh, that's cool. Is all you do run around and take quizzes?" And I was like, "Yep, that's pretty much it. Just read a bunch of stuff."
You had to pay money for that too? It didn't come with it?
Yeah, we paid. I paid money for that. I needed loot lock.
The sacrifices
for doing it.
The sacrifices we have to make.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal. I did find the Mario demo for the 4K Mario demo. I thought that was pretty cool. And I love that it does show off, like I've played the mouse thing where you're dodging the spikes and all that. But the rest of it, it's the in-between stuff that's kind of dry. It's very dry. Let's just put it that way. It's very dry. What about you guys, Jesse, Tim? What's your experience with this been?
Yeah, I've completed Area B, the tablet part, so I think I'm going to the right Joy-Con next. Yeah, I did an hour and a half. I think it was a live stream.
Yeah.
Last week before.
Yep.
And I haven't gone back to it yet. I still plan on doing it. But with there being it seems at least 8 areas, and it took me an hour and a half to get through the first 2. There's, I said last week that there's more content in here than I thought, which makes it probably worth the $10, even though a lot of it is menial.
Run over here, get this thing, talk to this person. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did enjoy the 4K Mario demo.
Where did you play that at? Like, let me just envision. Where are you sitting? Where are you?
I here at my desk, I have a 4K display. I'm going through
Gotcha.
my 4K capture card, streaming it in 4K. So because the way my streaming setup with the borders are, it's shrunk down a little bit, so it's really more like a virtual 1440p, but it's still 4K worth of data.
Mine was docked, and I was sitting on my couch, which is about
Really tiny.
7-8 feet away from the TV.
Yeah,
So
I did try it on my TV, a 65-inch TV from 8 feet away,
Yeah.
and I couldn't
That was what
do
I was
it.
on.
We're here. I'm on a 29, 32-inch screen. I don't know how big this is,
Yeah.
but only like 2 feet away, and I was able
It would have
able to
been-
do it without dying.
Yeah, it would have been really a lot better to do it where I'm sitting right now. But
Right, but with you, I don't think you could play the game with your new capture card because it captures at 1080p.
no, I can't.
You could
Have you gotten?
there is an HDMI out, which is a pass through, which will do 4K if you connect that to a 4K screen.
I was just surprised that my 65-inch TV was 4K. I didn't know it was.
Oh,
So,
that was the reason why I got this thing. Is because we wanted
Yeah.
4K displays down here and upstairs. So
I've had the TV for like 5 or 6 years now, I guess, and I didn't know.
Yeah, but we bought those TVs at Black Friday sales, whatever year it was, we bought them.
Yeah. Tim, what about you? What's your thoughts on the welcome tour?
Have you guys played the finger twister?
Is that part of it?
It's the touch screen test thing where you got to touch all the colors with your fingers.
Oh,
Have you guys played that
I haven't.
yet?
I haven't
No.
gotten that far.
Oh my gosh, that's on the flat screen thing.
Oh, maybe
I haven't done that
Section
part
B.
yet.
I didn't. Maybe I didn't have access to it because I was playing docked.
Oh yeah, that might be it. Because I didn't
Yeah.
have access to do the 4K thing because I was not docked.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it was that. That was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be because I'm sitting there playing with it on my lap, trying to do. It's
You need-
basically
you need
Twister
4
for your
hands.
fingers. You need extra hands because I'm sitting there trying to touch all the dots, and it's like touch the dot up at the top, and all my fingers are at the bottom. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to do that? And then once you leave a spot, of course, the game over. So
Got
and
a
it's like
plan.
you got to get all 10 fingers down on these dots, and it's a lot harder. You definitely need help, and I think Zablanc in our community said he had to get extra fingers to help
I think
him
he's
out.
got. Did he say he did 100% that game?
I don't think so.
I don't think. I don't know if he said it. He did it, but in order to do it, in order to unlock the last mini game,
yeah.
you have to 100% everything else before it. And I'm like, okay, well, that's instantly kind of took down my enthusiasm to the game because I'm never going to get 3 medals in that first stupid game.
Oh,
So
the mouse game.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder than you think it is.
No.
That's.
I don't even
mean,
think I have
it's-
2 medals in it.
I've got
That was a lot harder.
2, maybe. Yeah, I've
Nick,
got 2.
this
I can't get
game,
the-
Nick, you should get just for watching the people you work with try to do some of these
Perfect.
things.
Yeah.
I was trying to think back because like the original Switch didn't have anything it came with like this, right?
It doesn't come
So-
with it either.
Yeah,
but-
I know it
One
doesn't come
two
with it.
Switch was the Switch One equivalent to this game.
Yeah,
Oh,
but it was also $40.
50.
True.
50. Yeah, so at least this one's just 10.
Yeah. And then was Wii Sports, like, was that free? Did that come with the
In North,
Free.
That one
everywhere
was a
except for
pack-in.
Japan, it was a pack-in for like the first
Okay.
4 years.
That had so much replayability. Like,
Mhm.
usually you would, when you launch the Switch up, you're playing one of those games, like, as just at least a warm-up. Do you
Yeah,
think this
and-
has any replayability once you go through? There's, like, nothing to go back to.
Yeah, and NCL wanted it to be a paid game for everybody, but Reggie talked him out of it.
We don't know for sure, but it doesn't seem like there will be replayability in Welcome Tour. But we don't know if anything unlocks or anything else happens. If you do 100% it, who knows? Or there could be replayability because you like some of the mini games that are in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the 10 finger twister.
Or
Oh, I have to figure out.
or the 4K Mario demo. That one I might go back and try again.
Right?
I'll have to load a credit card now into the Switch at work so I can buy this for the guys.
There you go. And well, it's a good test bed for Loot Lock, right?
Yeah, I put my team on a budget.
There you go.
You have a $10 budget.
Yeah.
Pick the game you want.
Yeah. Software engineers. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, the other one that we all been playing here is Mario Kart World.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, except for me, but go ahead.
Oh, come on, Jesse. No, good.
One
Yeah,
of us.
Mario Kart World. Yeah, that's one I was playing as well. And I haven't played locally with my family yet, but I just got the second dock to hook up to the front TV and put the camera out there. And I told them we're playing this because I want to see all of us on our faces on each cart.
Oh, yeah,
And-
yeah. I
and
forgot about
racing.
that part.
So the
But I bet-
camera will split track for people.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
It'll put
But
like the arcade.
I will
version.
tell you that there's limits to it because I was like, in the trailer for it, it's all expertly lit and at the right distance and everything. I could not, like, I kind of sit like looking at my TV, but it's not straight on, like it's kind of off to the side
Yeah.
a little bit because the way our living room is, TV's on a mantle and it's in the corner of the living room. And so that camera cannot sit on top of the mantle and face down toward me and find me. The depth of field is very short. So it's going to have to live here at my desk, which means it's never going to do its intended purpose, which was it was meant to be bought for us to have together to be able to play Mario Party. You know, the Jamboree thing that's coming out. So we're
Jamboree
gonna have to find a
TV.
way to make that work. And I have and the lighting is an issue. And I'll be honest with you, it's a 1080p camera, but the quality that I was getting the other night was not anywhere near what they showed on the previews.
Yeah. I actually connected that camera to my phone.
Really?
Yeah, I had to use an app, but I downloaded the app so I could use it as an external camera, and you can see the quality was down, but
That was a little fuzzy.
yeah, you can see pixelated in a lot of cases, but it was still kind of interesting to see that it was working. It was
I
doing its
haven't
thing.
I haven't installed them yet, but I picked up two 1080p webcams off of Amazon that can kind of mount on the top and back of TVs and monitors. And I plan on connecting them to my docks, one here, one on the big TV, and
Yeah.
using that instead.
So can
When
it
we were-
support any USB-C camera
Oh,
instead of the?
it can even support USB-A cameras if you use one of the ports in the dock.
Okay.
Didn't know that last week when we talked about it. So it was mentioned by multiple people in our community that, oh yeah, you can do this. I'm like, that is an awesome idea. I've seen people just, it comes with this USB-C to USB-C.
Mhm.
I've seen people just swap it out with USB-C into the camera and a USB-C-A into the dock. So that way they don't have to plug and unplug every time they want to undock the system.
Yeah, DatFest in our RetroLogic community and in our community, he said he swapped out that cable that comes with like the Pro controller or this recharging thing for so you could use that plug that goes to USB-C to USB-A on his dock. And I was like, that's brilliant, and that's exactly what I did in the front room with the camera, so I didn't have to worry about plugging and unplugging it from the top of the switch.
Yeah. So once they do get them set up, I'll probably let Matthew use this camera that I'll never use again.
Yeah.
You think they cap it at 1080p, or if you plugged a 4K in, that you would get kind of better quality out of it?
I bet it wouldn't take it.
I'll try that tomorrow. Report back. So like in the office, I have these little ones, and if you like, this is what I'm using right now. It's on the desk, like these I'm not like plugging these guys, but these Insta360 4K cameras, super tiny. They're magnetic. They're 4K, and they look great. Yeah, I'll try that tomorrow though and see if that works. We have a few of them laying around the office.
Nice. I will say that before we kind of leap back around to Mario Kart, that we did the other night. It was my son lives upstairs now. I mean, he's 18. He would rather be in his room than be anywhere else. And I was downstairs, and he wanted to play Mario Kart, and we were trying to holler back and forth to like get the details in. And I was like, why don't we just use game chat? And so it was really cool to like, it worked like that. I mean, I will give Nintendo that with it. Yeah. That we like, I was trying to use the camera and we realized that wasn't going to work. And I was like, that's fine. We'll just do the screen at the bottom with nothing. But just like, I had no special microphone on. I had but it was picking him and me up crystal clear just from the console, even with stuff going on around us. It just really like, wow, like Nintendo made it work. It is. You just press the button and pick the chat, and it's done. Yeah. So kudos to them for that.
In our post show last week, we did that. We messed around with it. Jesse, myself, and Justin. Yeah. We actually jumped into the game chat and different games.
And then I think the post show might have gotten confused because at one point I had to mute this mic, otherwise Tim and Justin heard me twice, and so therefore I wasn't getting recorded anymore.
Yeah. So post show is like it's quiet.
But Tim and Justin could still could be heard by the post show. Just like I couldn't be heard anymore.
Yeah.
So one feature on the Steam Deck that I love, like you have a group of friends, on the Steam Deck, you just hop on Steam Chat and you all jump into the game together. Do like the party system, like Steam does that really well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, Nintendo's late to the game.
Yeah, they're late to the game, and they've got a little quirks because they're Nintendo. A few quirks with it because they're Nintendo.
Yeah.
But otherwise, pretty cool.
Trying to keep it safe for the kids.
Yep, absolutely. And I'm fine with that. Yes. So Mario Kart World. Let's talk about this. Tim, you said you hadn't gotten to play local.
Yeah, I haven't done multiplayer, local or online yet. But I've been going around. I did a couple trophies on the Grand Prix side.
Yeah.
Just the 50 cc's right now, starting out small. And then I did the knockout, the first two trophies on the knockout, and got those trophies. Messed around with free roam, which was actually pretty relaxing. Just to sit there and cruise around the world and chill and see what all the tracks are about and have fun with that on my own terms. It was actually, I like it right now. Did a couple of the, P button challenges throughout the world too. So yeah, it's single players, a lot of content to play. So
yeah, and I'm having a lot of fun playing as different characters, and I love how the dash food encourages you to play as different characters so that you'll get those extra costumes. They don't just unlock automatically, and it's always, I've got the very first one that I unlocked was the Vampire Waluigi costume. I was like, well, I'm done. We're done here. I don't need anything else.
You got what you wanted.
Marty wins Mario Kart.
Yeah, just I did finish up 50cc, all the cups, three stars, and unlock the additional one,
Nice.
which that is a really cool moment in and of itself. I one of the things I've really come to appreciate about this game in the short time that it's been out is the way that it presents the tracks, the way that it like the lead up to the actual I'm on the track, and some of those moments like the very first time, or finding a new shortcut, in the middle. It's been really cool. What One of the things I wanted to point out too was that if you're out there and you're listening and you haven't been starting with 50cc, if you whatever you start like whatever you go to, it unlocks whatever's under or it finishes whatever's under that if you finish it. So in other words, if you start at 150cc and you get 3 stars on the mushroom cup, you've got 3 stars on 150 as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh,
And I
wow.
kind
Yeah.
I kind of hate that because like
It didn't used to be that way.
yeah,
No.
there was always some longevity of like okay 50cc I'm learning the track,
Yeah.
100cc like I'm getting better now 150cc let's race right
Right. Yeah.
So I just wanted to warn people that if you happen to do one of those, it's gonna hit all of them.
Okay.
Tim, I'm the opposite of you though. The open world kind of frustrates me because I can't relax because I'm constantly like, what's down here? Oh crap, I'm back where I was, But I did get into this thing the other night where I was playing, and I don't know how I ended up there. I guess it was just what was on the title screen because you start there.
Yes.
I was up in the Bowser area
Hmm.
and finding a bunch of P switches up there and doing challenges. I lost like an hour just doing those. Like, oh, there's another one. Let's try that. Oh, there's another
Yeah.
one. Let's do this. You know, I do wish there was kind of like a map that showed you where all those were. Like if you could, get a point of interest on the map and kind of direct
That'll
yourself
come
there.
to the Nintendo Switch app
Oh, sure.
on the
Sure.
phone, and it'll
Yeah,
connect
that's
that way.
coming. I mean, I know that there's maps that people have already got on websites out there and stuff,
Yeah.
but I don't want to do. I'd rather just do it all in game. I do love that it's just like it's so easy to drop in and out of that, right? Like there,
Yeah.
press start on the main menu and you go straight into free roam wherever you're at. Just gorgeous game. I will say, since we've already kind of said it on earlier on the show, uh, this is the absolute best version of Rainbow Road that has ever existed on a Mario Kart game.
Okay.
I will not spoil anything about it and it's not like a super spoiler, but again, it goes back to that whole, like the presentation of it. The first time you do it, it's super, super cool. I mean,
Nice.
it's still cool after that, but like the first time, it's like, oh wow, this is a big deal.
Nick,
Math-
did you guys?
Matthew told
Did
me
you guys
that
get to it?
that he got to it but was distracted with something, so he didn't see the full animation.
Yeah,
Nick, did you guys get to it yet on your when?
No, I didn't. I got into one game. I got it set up. I got in one game with the guys. I was like, oh, I'm so rusty. My girls, if I don't get
Yeah.
better, they're gonna crush me when they hit 5 or 6. So, yeah, I still have to pick up another one, and probably when they become more available for home, so I can play it more. But yeah, I got one race in before I had to hand the controller off.
my only other thought that I wanted to highlight on Mario Kart Tour or World was that the knockout tour mode is insanely fun.
Yes.
It's probably the best new addition to this game, and it makes me wonder why have we not had this before now. But I think along
You
with
did.
that, I think
and
that
this is called F-099.
well, sure, but not in Mario Kart. And I think that what has made it more able to be done is the expanded number of characters that you have in every race.
Yeah.
Like, if you just did it with 12, it wouldn't really feel like that big a deal, right? But starting
Yeah.
with 24 and knocking out 20, then 16, then 8, 4, 1, that just feel and like the way that they made it have that like one long continual track that you're constantly that's where the sweet spot of it is. It's just great. We have one at our, like I said, I bought one for the church and the kids set it up. We had it set up last night playing it. So the first game they all get into it and they're playing Grand Prix. Every kid playing, we had the Joy-Con, we had another wireless controller that we synced to it, and then a wired. So we got 3 kids. They all pick Cal, and they all pick
Of
the
course they
exact
did.
same.
Yeah.
They all pick the exact same cart. And so I'm like, why are y'all doing this? They're like, because it's fun. And then they proceed to forget which squares of the screen they're in
Oh boy.
for the whole first race. So they're like going backwards. They're driving off. Thing. I thought I was this, and I'm like,
That's
guys,
hilarious.
you know,
I'm doing so
John-
good. Oh wait.
You
yeah,
should
no, it's
ask them
him.
if you could record that and see that happen again.
Yeah, just good stuff.
Yeah.
Jesse, what have you been playing besides what we've already talked about?
Okay, let's see. We talked about Welcome Tour. I'm continuing my playthrough of Picross Jufute Raiden's Guide for Pixel Museum. So, talked a little bit about it last week. It's basically the puzzles are like art exhibits in a museum that's hosted by a Japanese VTuber. Never heard of her before, but then she's kind of chatty. She says a lot of "yatta" when you complete a line. So I'm like, okay, mute her, shut her up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the puzzles are fun, and I found there's not as many puzzles in this one as in other Picross games, but there's also more larger puzzles. Like in a normal Picross game, there'll be like 5 extra large puzzles that are 30 by 30 or 30 by 40, and here there's been at least 10 of them. So those take 45 minutes to an hour each. So it'll take some time to solve them all. I think I'm about 2/3 through. I'll probably have it done by next week. I played the first segment of Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S in a live stream. I forgot that there was a Puyo Puyo Tetris 2. I never played it, so I don't know if this is a new game, like basically the 3rd game in the franchise, or just a better version of the 2nd game. I don't know, and I didn't have a chance to do that research. But they definitely make references that there was a previous adventure in the past, which would have been the original Puyo Puyo Tetris. So there's a lot of the same characters come back in their story mode. So I finished like the first 8 stages, which is like the first world, and mostly is playing Puyo Puyo. There's a few times you play Tetris. Each level you can get up to 3 stars depending on how well you do. Sometimes it's time based, sometimes it's points based. Doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason why it's one or the other. So, but I think I only got 1 star on the first stage, but I did get 2 or 3 in most of the others. So that's a game I do want to go back to. And the original game I played as far as I could until I got to a stage where I needed to be a Puyo Puyo master to beat the computer. I'm like, I'm never going to be able to do this, so I stopped playing. I'm sure I'll get to that point here as well, but not sure how long that'll take.
Yeah.
Then I did I did a new game start of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 edition to kind of see what that looks like in 4K. I think I saw some of the HDR effects. I'm not 100% sure if they come through the capture card or not. It might have always looked that way, and I don't know. but when I got a glimpse of the sun over the horizon, it did look brighter than I remembered when I played it 8 years ago. But
Yeah.
I only got as far as when the old man was teaching me how that I can warp back to the tower to look at. Once I got to that point, I'm like, I'm going to stop it here and play the next game, because I did both Breath of the Wild and the Wind Waker the game on the GameCube app in a single stream. So I've been playing the Wind Waker as well. first thing I noticed is I want to invert these left and right controls. And then I was reminded in the chat, oh, remap the controls. I'm like, oh, I can do that now. So I did it, and it was great up until I got the baton, because it also uses the C stick to do up, left, right. And since I inverted them in the controls, I have to do up, right, left. And it is really awkward to do. And then now I'm thinking maybe I can have inverted stick controls, but then use the GLGR buttons to be left and right for the baton. We'll see if that helps or not.
Okay. That's a good idea.
That's everything I've been playing.
Cool. Well, I'll add to that 2 games you guys didn't mention that do have Nintendo Switch 2 versions. Or one of them is for Nintendo Switch, the other is an upgrade. The first one's Street Fighter 6 Year 1, Year 2 edition. This game is immaculate. Oh my gosh. Like, never thought that we would see Street Fighter 6 on Nintendo hardware. I have the PS5 version. There is, to me, and maybe I'm just getting old, very, very few differences between them. It controls great. The graphics are great. The sound is amazing. Every mode is here, including DLC for Year 1 and Year 2, which you would have had to pay for anywhere else. It's all there for, the $59.99 price point. It's a steal of a deal. The Year 3 is coming. You will have to pay for that. But y'all, it's Street Fighter 6 on the go. And it's just incredible. If you've not played this game, it's accessible. There's modern control mode for people who don't know all of the inputs for all of the special moves and combos and things. There's an assist button for those that powers up your special moves and helps you do combos just with the press of a button. It eliminates the light, medium, and heavy punch and kick. Puts them like a light attack button, a medium attack, and a strong attack button. There's gyro controls if you want to play like with Joy-Cons in your hand and punch. There's also a mode called calorie mode where you it burns it shows you how many calories you burn as you play gyro mode. And that's not in addition to the online mode, the battle club or whatever it's called, and the world tour mode where you get to create your own character. And then defeat other characters and steal their move sets and create your own character. So you can have a guy who does the sonic boom and a dragon punch, and looks like a goblin, because the character creator suite lets you just go nuts. So it's an incredible package for what you get, and it's just performs so well on Switch too. I just can't recommend it enough. The other game I've been playing is Hogwarts Legacy, which is the Switch version that has been given a Switch 2 upgrade, and I say that because this is not a natively made for Switch 2 version. And though there is a huge, vast improvement between the Switch version and this one, you can still tell that it is still a Switch version, right? That's been given a major overhaul. There are just some things that stick out. Particularly hair textures and the textures of the magic as you use it. You can see a little graininess there, but here's the deal. It still looks and performs fantastic. Very smooth, if you've not played this game, it's just incredible what they were able to do. And so I played through the prologue, for the most part, up to a certain point, because it gets kind of long before you actually see the title card. I didn't want to go through all of that because I just felt like it was a huge, long expanse of time. But you get a sense of combat, you get a sense of exploration, kind of get what the game is about. I do have a first look video of it in Street Fighter up on our YouTube channel, and would love for you to go check those out. These are worthy additions to the launch library. And I can't wait to actually have a little time this weekend to play them a little bit. So yeah, that's what we've been playing. Let's turn on the community spotlight.
right, the community spotlight is where we shine a light on our community and talk about some of the questions that came up from our community through throughout the show, or at least throughout the week. I'm sorry that we've had the questions. But before we do, Nick, is there anywhere people can find you that you may want to direct them to if they have any questions other than the chat button on the Loot Lock? Or
Yeah.
you guys have anything in social medias?
Oh yeah, we're on all the social media. So on X, Blue Sky, Insta, Threads, and TikTok. TikTok, I do something a little different. I've been playing around with AI. I don't know if you guys know the VO3 model. So I've been making these funny little skits for Fortnite characters being interviewed in game in mid-match. So I've been playing around with that, having some fun with it.
Nice.
But the other ones, yeah, if you DM me, I'm always on there, just trying to get the word out that we have something to help parents.
Nice. Very cool. Well, we have a lot of questions here, so if you are able to stick around, you can help us answer some of them if you'd like.
Sure.
So the first one comes from Zablanc, who's in our Discord, and he asked, "Is Nintendo Switch 2 instantly the greatest Nintendo console of all time? It's bigger, faster, and better, with way better Joy-Cons, plays all the original Switch games, and has a functioning eShop. And there's not one thing it doesn't do as well. All hail our new king."
I mean, oof. For the nostalgia of the N64 and just having all your friends over and like that console and what it did for like my group of friends and how it transformed us to kind of playing games to like we're going every weeknight to somebody's house playing GoldenEye or playing some party game. Like I don't know if I'll ever have the same like nostalgia for a console like that.
Yeah, that's a tough one to compare it to for sure.
Yeah, but for like power, like the looks and the graphics are like this is next level for Nintendo. Like this is the best we've ever seen.
Nice. They're starting to put a lot of those Nintendo 64 games on their NSO app, right? So you can play GoldenEye again if you wanted to with your buddies.
Are they like remastering it a little bit? Like does it like up kind of the graphics, or is it still like original?
It's pretty much the N64 ROM, just playable.
Wow.
But the way it works online through at the system level, so you're able to connect 4 players with your friends before you even launch the game, and then it's just like player 1, 2, 3, and 4 in your joystick ports.
And they have a wireless N64 controller you can buy too.
Oh, that's cool. Oh no, I'm about to go look at the price tag on that one.
I think
it was
Jesse, what is it, $70?
That might have been 60, but it might have gone up.
Okay.
Yeah. For all the hate the price tag got, like the Switches are selling like hotcakes at a rate that is like way faster than the last one.
Yeah.
I was looking for my controller, but must be buried somewhere in my pile of junk, so I don't have it within reach.
It is a nice controller. I sold mine to somebody who was going to use it more, so it's another person in the community.
Can you use it, you think, for like all of the Switch 2? Like if I wanted to just play old school, can I play all the Switch 2 games on the N64 controller? Or is there not enough?
So.
Oh wow.
You might be missing some buttons, but yeah, if a button is an A button, no matter what controller it comes on.
Yeah.
Yep. I believe so. And they have a lot of remapping capabilities on the Switch and Switch 2, so you can even remap some buttons if you wanted to. I didn't personally try it because I don't have nostalgia for the N64. It was actually the system I had to skip because I didn't have enough money to buy multiple systems. I chose PlayStation because it was like I wanted to try it out and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I did have friends who had it, and I did go to their house and play like the wrestling games and the Mario 64 game, Mario Kart 64 and all that stuff. So, but yeah, I didn't have my own.
It took me a while to get one. So for a while, every Friday, I would take my allowance. I'd go to Blockbuster, and they would rent the whole kit for you. So I think
yeah.
I did that for probably a few weeks until like I think it kicked into me. I'm probably wasting too much money. I should just save up and get an N64.
Could have just bought your own.
Yeah,
Yeah. I remember those kits.
the
Those
big
some of those-
plastic box that
Yeah.
used to come in, like just barely could
Right.
lift the thing.
I remember, like, you had to have like a $50 cash deposit before renting them, so in case you didn't return them or you damaged them, then they would keep the deposit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll need like a kidney, your license or something.
Right.
Oh,
Jesse, do you think this is the bigger, badder, best?
It definitely
Nintendo
has
console
a
of all
good
time?
chance of doing so. Yeah, if the first 3.5 million in 4 days, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to reach 100 million or 150 million, but definitely has a good start.
Yeah. I think that it is heading there for me. I think it's probably the Switch. I was already considering to probably be my new number one favorite console. SNES is my favorite. Probably tied with the Game Boy Advance because of just it was basically played SNES games anyways.
Right.
But yeah, it's up there because I can go back and play a lot of those games I'm nostalgic for, plus these new games. So, especially with Metroid Prime and Metroid games all being on there, I'm good.
Yeah. The SNES still has my all-time favorite game, and it's probably the Mario RPG is my favorite
Yes.
game from that era on the SNES. I don't know what it was, but it was so addicting for me to go back and play an RPG style
Yeah,
game.
they have the remake of the game on Switch.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
when
to.
you find the time.
Yeah, gotta get myself. See if I get lucky on Costco again and get myself one.
Yep.
I do prefer the handhelds though, especially with the little ones. Like when you have any spare time, it's good to just be like wherever you are, just plop for 10 minutes
Yes.
and be
Yeah,
out
and
of the
then-
game for a little bit.
And then it goes right back to sleep, and it'll resume. It's very fast resume faster than Xbox's fast resume.
It is a lot of what the dads in our community has done over the years with the Switch and now with the Switch 2. That has been their go-to system because they could hold it while, giving their baby the bottle or and play, or they're sitting in the room with their kids, going to sleep or whatever.
Yep,
So-
sound off on the Steam Deck while one of them's falling asleep in my lap with a bottle. That was definitely the go-to
Oh, yeah.
when they were
There you go.
younger.
There you go. All right, the next question I've got is, does anyone else think Mario Kart World isn't all that good? I prefer courses with laps instead of start to end, refining my technique on each successive lap and cutting tight corners. The new tracks in World are gigantic and don't feel fast. With 24 racers, it's more chaotic than racing, or chaos than racing. I think I like 8 much more. Does anyone else feel the same way? Honorable mention is no rewards for the P-Switch challenges. So this is again Zablanc with his opinion on Mario Kart World. Nick, I don't know if you played enough yet to have an opinion on it.
No, not enough. But I do enjoy the chaos.
Okay.
I love that there's more things going on and there's more racers in there. But yeah, I haven't done enough races yet.
Yep. I haven't played it enough yet either to compare it to agree or disagree with what Zablanc is saying. So that is one opinion said there. So I'm sure there might be some more along the lines, or if there are anybody who's listening wants to give their opinion, leave them in the comments. All right, the next question is from Darth Platypus. If you could change one thing about launch day, what would it be?
My answer is to have the docks purchasable and available to be delivered on launch day with everything else. I didn't like having to wait until launch day to order it, and then I didn't get it until Monday.
Yeah.
I would say the thing I hated about launch day is I work in the city, so at lunch I walked into Nintendo store in Manhattan, and they had a ton of Switch 2s. I could not buy one because I wasn't free, on the warp list, I guess they were calling it, and didn't have a reserved one there in store. But
Wow.
they had stacks of them.
Interesting. They had that many people reserved and sitting there waiting for them.
Yeah, and they had a help
Interesting.
desk, and I walked up and I was like, okay, if I wanted to get one, like, when can I get one? They're like, the next, like, if you sign up now for the warp list, which you had to pay for, it's like 3 weeks. We'll get you one in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
was
we
like,
have a listener who lives in New York too and gives us kind of that information as well. So, but we didn't know that.
my own mistake because I didn't pre-order. I didn't try to fight like, I'm getting a little bit too old to be up at like midnight trying to like refresh the websites with my bots and just make sure that like I get a
It was a
pre-order
rough
in.
night, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, Nintendo should be sending you guys the Switches. Like, what are they doing?
Nope, we don't get that. We don't get that luxury. We couldn't even go to the previews. We didn't get any kind of.
Apparently Roger got one.
Roger got one. Yeah, he got to go early too. He got to go in before they opened the doors to the public. So, but we're not on Roger's level. But yeah, it was still. I don't know. It's obviously everybody wanting to get one. It was chaotic on the day where we could pre-order one in the stores, and then if you weren't lucky enough to get one there, you had to hope that if you had signed up for Nintendo's wish list, or not wish list, their wait list, to get an invite to go order one on their site, then you had that option. So that's what you had to hope for too, because not everybody we know in our community was there. You know, a lot of people were sitting there waiting for their invite for even like possibly a second order, because obviously if they got one during the pre-order time, a lot of people still wanted to get a second one, like Marty was talking about for his son. He wanted to be able to pre-order one for his son.
Oh yeah,
So,
I got my invite. I think it was Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And so I ordered one, which will go to a friend of my son's. So he's going to
Okay.
pay me the retail price for it.
yeah. The thing I wish I was a lot easier for launch day, or even pre-order up to get to launch day, was how easy it was with the Switch 1. Just walk into GameStop, put my, however much down on what I wanted to order, go in and out and pay it off if I wanted to, or pay it all in one lump sum, or pay it off when I got there, like I think was mentioned before. You can come in and pay it off before you could pick it up. I think we did that with the 3DS. And I think I did that with the Switch. I was able to pay it off and then pick it up at midnight. It did not seem like it was that easy because of the limited numbers. You had to like go wait in line in order just to pre-order. You couldn't just walk in when you conveniently could between now and launch day and say, I want to pre-order a Switch. Okay, we'll put you on the list. And then you'd have one, by a certain deadline, obviously, before launch day to get one. And it's just so much difficult these days just to get a console because of people wanting to resell them.
Yeah. I remember I didn't get a Switch on the first allocation, the original one, and I remember the restock was very difficult to get one if you didn't get one in the first tranche. Like, it took weeks for me to find one, and I'm curious to see on this one. Nintendo's already said they don't have enough to meet the demand. So, like, they've already gone way above and beyond what the initial, like, consoles were for the Switch. It's going to be interesting to see if it's going to be a hard battle for people to get their hands on them, or if Nintendo's going to figure it out and have enough available for everybody that wants one.
That's what we'll see. And well, apparently also, if I read it correctly, Best Buy is doing some events in the next weeks or months from now where they'll have the ability to come in the store and buy one because they'll have added stock, and it's a matter of just keeping tabs with your local Best Buy, I guess.
Yeah. I walked into a few on the way to the Nintendo store because there's like one in every block, and like all of them had that big sign that said out of stock. Like,
Okay.
Nintendo shipped in advance because they knew these huge signs that just said out of stock that everybody had with all the Nintendo logos. So that was funny to see.
Yeah, I saw pictures of those. It is kind of funny. It's good that they're selling so much of them, but It's going back to the. I mean, like you said, the Switch. You had a hard time getting one, and then the Wii, I think, was one of those ones that was everybody was having a hard time getting that at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that when my wife happened to walk into Target at the moment they were putting them on the shelf, and was able to buy one. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
And then I see posts on Reddit of people that are like, they live in kind of non-populated areas and they're walking into like Targets and they're taking pictures of the glass and there's 12 switches like there in the glass. It's just like, where do you live?
Yeah. Hey, can you pick up one for me?
Yeah.
All right, on to the next question from Mecha Dragon. That's the person actually that lives in New York I was mentioning about. What's the deal with the CRT filters in games? But for real, what's the appeal in adding a CRT feature to collections or the Switch Online, for example? I heard that the reason why CRT filters on N64 are exclusive to Switch 2 is that it needed more processing. Maybe it's because I don't remember them much when I was gaming as a kid, but every time I apply them, it just makes my game look like a 240p YouTube video.
And that is literally the point, because that's what TVs were like back then.
Yep.
You know, I don't think there was a few flat screens out in the mid 90s, but those would have been like $10,000 TVs, and not your average everyday household would have had one. So yeah, then even into like I had a CRT up until the Wii era. That was the first time I played on flat screen. So that was still playing on. When I first got the Wii, I was playing on 4x3, and it was kind of gross.
Yeah. I remember the plasmas. Oh my God, they were heavy and big.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah,
those were, I guess those were kind of like flat screens, but they were just humongous, and like you needed 4 people to move them.
Yeah.
yeah. But but the art style back then had the CRT effects in mind, which is why when you play it on an LCD or an LED display, you can see all the jagged lines that you weren't supposed to see, which is, and then the filters are there to help smooth them out or to hide them again. And I think Twilight Princess, no, not that one. The one that was in late Wii, uh, Skyward Sword.
Skyward Sword, yeah.
Yeah, that,
Unless you were talking about Breath of the Wild, but I don't think you're talking about that. But Skyward Sword.
No, yeah, Skyward Sword. That was still, even though it was late Wii era, that was designed with CRTs in mind to help, blur the models to give it more of that watercolor look.
Okay.
That probably very few people actually played it, because by then, lots of CRTs were on the way out.
Yep. And when we were talking about this in Discord, I mentioned nostalgia as a factor too. Why the CRT filter is there? A lot of people want to play with that filter to kind of for nostalgia purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much every single NSO app I have the CRT filter on, even on GameCube.
Okay.
And I'm like, this is how I remember this being.
I can't remember. Did the Atari games, like the Atari 50, did that allow you to turn on CRT mode or anything like that? I don't remember if it has that ability or not.
That I don't remember, but again, the pixels are so blocky then I don't even think CRT would help them.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter.
Right.
Yeah, like you can see the individual pixels blocks.
Mm-hmm. Good point. All right. Next question is from Lieutenant Dan Ice Cream. I love that name, by the way. So, if developers were required to release a free demo for any game they wanted to sell for $80, would that price tag feel more comfortable for you? I think it would help.
I think it depends on the game, but it definitely wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
At least you get to be able to see what you're putting $80 out before you did it a little bit.
Yes. Especially if it allowed you to save the game, and carry that save over from the demo over to the new game.
Well, there's another question for that.
There is. I think it was Ebicel, right?
Yep.
So If they are forced to do a demo, should they save file carryover? Yes, they should. I think all of
Yeah.
those should do that.
Again, and again, only if it makes sense. If your demo
makes
is
sense,
the first 2 hours of the game, then hell yeah, but if your game is just a vertical slice that you're not actually like the Sea of Stars one, what happened? It's not something you actually got into until you were 5 or 6 hours in. That
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense for that to
I
happen.
didn't mind
But
that.
it still does not mean it's a bad demo.
Right.
Sometimes the beginning of the game is probably not a good place to demo a lot of games, especially if they're big RPGs.
Yeah, there was I forget the name of it or how to pronounce it correctly. It was a platforming game that was sold in Japan first and then made its way to the North America. It started with a B, Bakugan or something like that.
Bakugan?
Something like that. But it had a demo. That's what made me really like the game and go and buy it. But I had to replay the same first 2 or 3 levels, or at least the first one because it was the tutorial. I had to redo that one again. And then
that was
the second.
Yeah.
The second level, I think, was later on, but it's still I had to replay that one later.
Yeah, I remember that was my problem with Dragon Quest Builders. I played the demo, which is the start of the game, but at the time, the demo didn't migrate over, and at the time, I wasn't in the mood to play through that game again. I eventually did, but I think I played Builders 2 first and then went back to Builders 1.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then they've patched in the ability to transfer data from the demo later. I'm like, if they had it in day 1, then I wouldn't have had to wait.
Gotcha. Nick, you got anything for that one?
No,
Do you
I'm just
prefer
trying
demos?
to think of like the demo. Like, what's the demo that had the most replayability for me? Like, there's definitely been in the past. I'm blanking. Like some demos that were just so good that I played them like 20 or 30 times.
Yeah, there's definitely those ones for sure. That it's like you could live on the demo for a bit.
Yeah.
Before you're like, I might as well buy the game.
I can't remember the last time I played a demo before buying the game. Like, I'm a sucker for Steam sales, so I tend to just like get a bunch of games, and eventually, when I'm like got nothing to do, just go and try one out and see if I like it. So I definitely buy before I try.
Just don't bring back the demos method that Nintendo used on 3DS games. They're like self-destructed after 10 runs or something like that.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. I forgot about those. Yeah. Like there was a countdown or something on it. Yeah.
Yep.
This game will self-destruct in 5 plays. Yeah. It's like a Mission Impossible thing. The other thing that Epicel says is if you were using CRT, would you also turn on CRT filters?
Probably not. That would
look
be redundant and
extra crunchy.
probably look pretty gross.
Right. What is the next batch of GameCube games to release on NSO? Do you think Nintendo continues to sporadically release content for the other platforms, or are they pretty much done with the NES Game Boy games? Nope, I think it's still all sporadic. It'll be whatever they feel like putting out.
It might be quarterly drops instead of monthly drops, but I think we'll still see something from time to time.
And they have so many systems, they can spread it out to where, you may not get GameCube games till every quarter, like you're saying, but in that same quarter, you still may get another one of those or 2 games for the other systems. That's the frustrating part, is the bigger window.
Yeah. So the first game I thought of might be Fire Emblem Path of Radiance.
Okay.
That's probably a game that probably has a high resale value because it's probably getting harder to find the actual disc.
Yeah.
Since those discs have a tendency to get scratched and no longer work.
True.
So having that available digitally would be nice for those who like Fire Emblem.
Okay.
But probably have never played this game before.
Nick, if you were to get on the NSO or even play with the people in the office on some of the classic games, is there anyone in particular that you would want to play? Whether you know it's there or not, we can let you know if it is. But
Oh, I mean, for me, Perfect Dark and GoldenEye were definitely ones from my history. I actually pulled it up after you said it, Mario RPG, because I want to see what it looked like. That's definitely one that I would lock into,
okay,
and play that.
okay.
I mean, the depends on how far back now we would go. Like the original Zelda, just for nostalgia. I don't
Okay.
know if that one's on there.
There is, yes.
Okay.
How about the Zelda Collector's Edition that has Zelda 1, Zelda 2, Ocarina
It's
of Time.
Oh, it's got Ocarina with it too? Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember if it had Majora's Mask on it, but then it also had a demo to Wind Waker. We're never going to see that, but still, that'd be fun to have.
That would be fun to get that GameCube version, yeah.
Yeah. Some of the original Final Fantasies, like I don't know, that's probably not the
That's not on NSO, but you can buy Final Fantasy 1 through 6 on a collection.
on a
Switch.
collection. Okay.
Yeah, for the Switch.
Yeah.
So I looked up price charting and how much Path of Radiance costs. It shows $172 loose, $482 new, and someone has a copy up on Amazon for $500.
Of course.
One left in stock. Better hurry.
That is especially a hot topic for people to talk about in the Retro Logic community, another Discord community that's friends of ours. So if you really like talking about retro stuff, that's the place to go on Discord, Retro Logic. What do you think the Switch 2 landscape will look like on its 1-year anniversary?
What's gonna be the game?
Well, I think we're going to have 30 game releases a week again by then. And
Hopefully a better store to help sort through it, though.
hope so.
It seems like it's gotten better. We'll test.
But-
It'll be a test.
And if Nintendo can manufacture that many units, I think they can beat the 15 million target that they have. It's just that pretty much it all depends on, how many units can they make, they'll sell. At least in that first year they will.
Yeah. Do you think they're just pushing out as they're making them, pushing them out, or do you think they're going to hold any back to try to get ready for the holidays?
I'm sure they'll continue to drop occasionally when they can, but I imagine they all will also hoard stock a bit until October, November, so they have a bit more availability for the holidays.
Or do you
That's what I would do.
Do you think the retailers might even try to hoard some stock to get ready for the holidays?
That's also likely, but I think Nintendo should help them with that because I think they'll sell more. I'm sure they'll have again. We joke that they're going to have another Mario Kart 8 bundle for the holidays, but they'll have some. They'll have some bundle.
Yeah, we were thinking. I was thinking. I was like, "What's the holiday bundle gonna be?" We should probably do a pool on that to see what the holiday bundle is gonna be.
Yep. I wonder if they'll try to make it different from the day one bundle. Because they said that the Mario Kart. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it would be plus 12 months of NSO or 6 months or whatever it is.
Trying to think,
Very
like
true.
the big games for the Switch, like Animal Crossing, is that one been like announced, or is there like a new Animal Crossing coming
Not yet.
Not
No
yet.
new one has been announced.
There will be. There's no doubt
Yeah.
there will be, but because it's the number 2 best-selling game on the system.
Yeah.
No new one's been announced yet, and no Switch 2 edition has been announced either.
Okay. And then Smash. Oh, obviously, is that
No announcements yet
on
on
that
that
one
yet.
yet?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
not yet.
give that one a good 3 years at least because Sakurai's busy with their Kirby Air Riders.
Yeah.
I could see that one getting the I think we talked about this on the show before. That one getting a deluxe version of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that was on the Switch and just getting a, deluxe version. to come over to Switch 2.
Super Smash Brothers Ultimator.
Yes. That's it. Yes. That. I like that name. We should put that in the show title somehow. Yeah, and I think of let's see, a year from now, I think there's going to be something NSO related that will be huge beyond just GameCube. Possibly, because there's always been rumors that maybe the DS would come over.
Neo Geo.
Neo Geo would be, yeah. Interesting. Yep. And Neo Geo, what was the Swan?
Wonder Swan?
Wonder Swan, yeah. Maybe they'll have that on there. That'd be interesting.
Get the Final Fantasy ports of Wonder Swan on NSO.
Nice. All right, next question comes from our Patreon side of things, which is from the first person is from David. Asks, Nintendo must have done something right to sell 3.5 million consoles in the first 4 days. Record-breaking sales numbers. What does each of the dads think Nintendo did well to lead to these sales numbers, and what do they need to continue to do to perform well enough to set a record for console sales in the first year of release? Do what they did the first year of Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, well, I kind of already answered this one. Just keep manufacturing them and make sure the distribution chain does not break.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Sony's and Xbox's problem in 2020.
Yeah.
That's going to be a tough part. And also
not their fault, obviously, but still, it didn't help things.
And have the software that people want, because everybody's going to want the Switch 2 for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, it's number 2 best-selling game is Animal Crossing. What are you going to do to get that community over if they're waiting for that next Animal Crossing?
Yep. Yeah. And the Pokemon, Pokemon's always big, so they got to knock it out of the park whatever first Pokemon release they're coming out with.
Yep. We talked about that, I think, last week. We were talking about the potential of a Switch 2 Lite coming out along with the Gen 10 version, Jesse, is what you said?
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Because the 2DS launched with Gen 6 and the Switch Lite launched with Gen 8.
Yeah, so that would be interesting.
And I don't think we talked about it, but also from the Xbox, was it Xbox or no? I think it was Summer Game Fest. Game Freak is making a new game that's not coming to Switch.
That was Xbox.
That was Xbox.
It was Xbox. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I hope they learn things and
it was amazing looking. Yeah,
move those learnings into Pokemon.
Yep, Game Freak had a new game coming out on Xbox that looked pretty good, and it was funny. It was like, okay, definitely need to do that.
Something I don't remember, but
yeah. I think that pretty much covers that one. To set the records for sure. Have the inventory, have the software to bring the people that are waiting for that software.
Yeah. I mean, all the publicity they got, the negative publicity, obviously just fueled the fire even more, it seemed.
And yes. Don't announce the game you're not going to release for 7 years.
Well, Nintendo doesn't do that.
Metroid says hi.
What are you talking about? Yeah, no, don't do that. That was probably a Reggie thing, before he wanted to leave. He was like,
yeah,
announce this now. All right, next one is from Eric. I know Justin has been fielding questions all day about the Genki, but is the attack vector comfortable with just the Joy-Con grips? I have no plans on putting the case in, but I need support when holding the Joy-Con. And Justin responded actually saying, I've been playing it primarily only with the Joy-Con grips. I took the shell off because it's a little too snug in the dock. Yes, it's very comfortable. Based on my usage and behaviors, I'll likely only put the shell on the body when traveling to provide a bit more protection. So I hope that helps Eric and anybody else who's been watching and listening to Justin's videos on the attack vector case or shell, and along with the case he's got. Next question comes up from Rudis McGee. Is the system worth the price? Is Mario Kart worth the price? Just wondering what you all think, over, under, or just right on the pricing.
Can't argue with 3.5 million in sales. Oh, numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to hear at the next quarterly briefing what the attach rate ends up being. Yeah, so we won't know until, well, no, well, yeah, the quarter ends at the end of this month, so we'll have 4 weeks worth of data. That will, I think, first week in July is when we'll know those answers.
What's like the MSRP on that camera? Because I feel like that's going to be like the kind of the game changer.
The camera is 55.
Yeah. Okay. It will
It
be
was going to
interesting
be
to see
50
how many
before they increased the prices of accessories.
Yeah. The tariffs too kind of got everybody in a panic a little bit. They just preemptively tossed up the prices. It'd be interesting to see the adoption rate of the camera, because that's like a new peripheral now that, like, it seems like it integrates well with the game, so like that could bump their accessory sales up pretty decently.
But also the fact that any webcam will work. It doesn't have to be Nintendo's webcam. So it'll still maybe sell 1 million in that first year and then taper down, I would guess.
We might see some holiday packs of that too, like selling the camera with Jamboree, Jamboree TV.
That would be a good bundle.
Yeah. So there's the potential of that, especially, since the price and stuff. For me personally, in my wallet, would have loved to have it be $400 instead of $500, like we were speculating for the system. And then of course it hurts seeing the price go up on games, but it's the history of it and of games. When back in the Super NES days or Genesis days or whatever it used to be, games would be around this price at that time. So my brain can't argue with that. It's like, it sucks, but it's like, at least for game prices, I'm still frustrated about the system price. Yes, it's kind of tough for $500. And yes, we can't argue with the $3.5 million, 3 million consoles sold, excuse me. But we're going to see how much of an impact that's going to make it during the holidays with people, watching what they spend, so on and so forth. And especially, we're going to see what retailers do too. Are there going to be bundles? What are those bundles going to be? Is it good enough to get people to buy them? And Nintendo's going to be thinking about that too. Or other things to pack in with it, like Welcome Tour.
I'm just thinking of like comparing it, because it's almost a perfect price point to what the Steam Deck is. And like thinking about the Steam Deck, right? The Steam Deck, you can play your whole Steam library, but it's still very much a single person console. Like you can't really play the Steam Deck with more than one people, but for the Switch you get kind of the whole catalog on there, and then it's still like a family game machine at the same, because you could play it with like 1 to 8 on some of the games if you have enough controllers.
Yep.
So it's like maybe it does, the value is there just for the aspect that it's like not only playing your single player games, but all the family player, and bringing more than one person can enjoy it at a time.
Right.
So maybe they're not that far off from the price point. And it's got now I think it's probably got better resolution than the Steam Deck. Do you know what the native screen is on the Switch?
It's 120 hertz on the screen.
Well, the resolution is 1080p on Switch 2, and I think it's like 900p on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, okay, so it's better hardware too.
I don't even think it's 16:9. I think it's something a little bit closer to a square, but I could be wrong. I've never had a Steam Deck, so I'm just going on memory.
I think Again, the 120 hertz helps, but I think I want to say the Windows devices, handheld Windows devices, have that.
Yeah.
But I don't
Like
remember off the top of my head.
like the Legion, like the
Yeah,
Lenovo Legion
Legion
and stuff like that.
Go
Yeah.
or the Rogue Allies,
But
and
they're way expensive. Like, aren't those Windows devices like? Don't they get up to like $700,000?
I think so.
yeah, anywhere between 700 to 1,000. Yeah, depending on what you get and how much RAM you get in it and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
How
Because
much
there's the
storage?
Rogue Ally X, the Ally X is there. They came out with newer versions of those. Um, there and those come out. It seems like every year or 2 years too. So there's always going to be something better that's going to come out that's going to just obviously be better than the Switch because Nintendo's not going to come out with another one next year.
Yeah.
At least
It
that's
might
not their
be,
pattern.
yeah, it might be a soft internal upgrade that we may or may not even notice.
True.
But yeah, but it'll ultimately still look the same from the outside.
In a few years, we might get a little like an OLED version with a
Right.
better battery. But yeah, that's about it.
Like based on what your feedback, I bet you the first change you see, as I bet you they upgrade that camera a little bit. Like
Oh yeah, yeah.
if it's that if what they've been showing in advertising is that much night and day to what you guys are seeing from the camera quality, I could even see by Christmas they have like a slightly better camera version being packaged.
Or in a few years, again, maybe
Yeah.
they build the camera into the new device.
Yeah.
That might be the thing.
I mean, technically, yeah, they could have just had the dock have a camera in it, like,
That would have been
and the
interesting.
handheld as
And
well.
then now
Like,
the dock's $170.
yeah, for an $8 camera that they put into it.
It'll be interesting to see what they do for sure. All right, then the next question is to Justin, who he also answered primarily and off topic. As you are the only Canadian that I can ask, I know you mentioned a few pods ago that you don't follow hockey closely, but is hockey big up there in Canada? The NHL playoffs are going on and there's a Canadian team in it. Does it have a lot of buzz? Appreciate all the Genki vids. So Justin responded, great question. As it's playoff hockey, I'm definitely watching more, and add the fact that a Canadian team is in the finals. I'm definitely tuned in. There is a ton of hype and buzz in Canada, especially Alberta, as Edmonton is one of the 2 NHL teams in our province. Lots of flags, jerseys, and watch parties happening right now. Glad you enjoyed the Genki videos. Hopefully they were helpful. So again, anybody who's not aware, Genki, Justin's been doing a lot of Genki videos on the attack vector case, or I can't think of it. It's not a case. It's a grip, attack vector
Shell?
grip, shell. Yes, and he also did get the case that it can fit into with certain handles on it. But he's got lots of shorts out there on YouTube about it. So if you're interested, there's that, and then I'm sure there'll be more to come between any of us getting accessories to share. So, Nick, are you into hockey at all?
Yeah, so I'm a Rangers fan, New York Rangers fan. I
Okay.
played hockey, grew up in the New York area. So
Nice.
we've been just good enough to like these last few years to get to the playoffs, get through 1 or 2 rounds, and then lose towards the tail end of it, and now we're
Yeah.
horrible. We're horrible again. So so we had a few good years, but no cups.
Yeah, that's where I'm at with my Red Wings. It's like they've been trying, getting in there, but no.
I think it's
Not
been a
enough.
while since Canada's won too. I think
Yeah.
it's been a little bit of a cold streak.
Yep, they've been close though. I mean, well, didn't Edmonton didn't win last year? I don't remember.
That's
Because I know we have our Edmonton Oilers fans and like Justin, or excuse me, Bruce. Edmonton Oilers 2024 Cup.
says the Montreal Canadiens were the last Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup in 1993.
Oh, they were defeated by Florida Panthers last year. they made it to the Stanley Cup Finals, but they were defeated by the Florida Panthers. Okay. That's crazy. You said 1983?
1993. 1993. Yeah.
Okay.
According to AI on Google, which
Gotcha.
who knows if you can trust all the time.
The Red Wings aren't there, so I'm not watching. I'm sure the same thing's for you or your Rangers. You're not.
Yeah, no.
It's like they're not in there, so you're not watching. Jesse, do you care about hockey?
No, I never did. Even when I was a kid, when we had the North Stars, I grew up in Minnesota,
Okay.
and then they moved down to Texas, and we haven't had didn't have a team for a while, and then they started up another team. I don't remember when, but I'm not there anymore, and we don't have a hockey team here in Kansas. So
okay. Yeah, you just care about football and baseball.
Yeah, I remember I was in pep band in high school. Normally did basketball games, but there was 2 or 3 hockey games I did go to, and I had no idea what was going on. I just played the songs when it was time to play the songs.
Nice.
Chat says it's pretty bad when a Canadian hockey team gets beat by one from Florida. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yes. That is. All right, the next question is from the Jiggy Collector. Help us predict what the first exercise fitness game will be on the Switch 2. Would they just update Ring Fit or upgrade the fitness boxing games, or would it be something new?
Little re-release world-class track meet. Get the pad out with USB port.
Do the Joy-Cons have any newer gimbal like tech in it, or is it pretty much the same tech from like Switch 1? Like the magnets obviously are cool for like how they dock now, but
yeah, I think they lost the IR camera. I don't think that's gone. It still has HD rumble.
Mm-hmm.
It has an improved HD rumble. It uses springs instead of
right.
Whatever it was, magnets. That's what I learned in Welcome Tour.
And then does it have more buttons on like? So I didn't pay close enough attention, but when I was the parts that go in for the magnets, are there new buttons on that side, or is it just they're redesigned a little bit?
They're bigger.
They're SLSR buttons that are bigger than the original Joy-Con.
Mm-hmm.
So they're bigger.
Yeah. Trying to think what they would do that would be cool with that tech. Like with the camera, like if they go the whole route of like the Kinect with that camera, like there's a lot of like motion things they could do. Like the Kinect was way ahead of its time for some of the like fitness and motion stuff because it could like track your skeleton. It would like draw the line of your arms, and it could do multiple people in the room.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So they might go that route.
I like that one. I think that is a very good point of using the camera, especially since Nintendo made their own.
Mm-hmm.
And there's probably something there that we'll definitely see an exercise game using that camera.
And you could tell they put some good software behind it because it's not trivial to do this split face tracking with multiple people in the room. So there's definitely some probably pretty cool software for the camera that they can continue to lever as they build for.
And there is dedicated processing power and memory usage for system use, so the camera can do what the camera needs to do.
Yeah.
Yep. I was jokingly going to say they're going to bring back the Wii board, but for a switchboard.
That used to like, it used to shame you, that Wii board. Like,
Yeah.
They had to wait. Like if you didn't like weigh in, like that thing was like brutal.
Yes. Oh, Vic says DDR. They're going to bring back DDR.
Mm-hmm.
The mats.
Yep.
No, it'll be new tech. Sorry. It's going to use the camera, but you get an add-on to where it will laser print, out on the floor a DDR mat for you.
Now you have to use 10 fingers on the screen.
Yes.
It's going to integrate with the Meta glasses, and it'll just like AR a floor for you.
There you go. Yep. That is. I like the camera idea. I think that's definitely where it's going to go. So it'll be interesting to see what, and we'll have to get you back on the show to talk about it. So, all right, the last question we have, or actually a comment that was made in the chat earlier, was from Ninfrendo. Jesse, you found this, you captured this. So he said the new Joy-Con fit in the sides of the Switch 2 like the red and green line on Voltron, and I'll form the head.
Yeah, I had to clip that and put it in, and have it read.
Nice. So that is all our questions. Nick, thanks again for stopping in, and I apologize for not having you on sooner. So thank you for being patient with us. But you are more than welcome to come back. You have access to that Calendly link. So if you want to start promoting that tier 3, let us know. You're welcome back anytime. And we'll get you on. Or if you just want to chit chat, let us know.
Yeah. As the girls get older here, I'm definitely having more and more time. Like we're getting that toddler stage. So I think more game time is coming back. I think I could slowly start giving them some screen time now that they're going to be past 2.
Yes.
So it's going to be interesting few months.
I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
You'll have to come back and talk about what you're doing with your girls when playing on the Nintendo Switch too.
Then you can use your own product.
Yeah,
yes.
That's why I'm really building it for. It's like I'm just trying to solve my future need.
There you go.
But yeah, no, but
Nice.
Love to engage. Like obviously, if anybody that's listening gives it a try, like hit me up, give me some feedback. We're constantly iterating on it. We're obsessing over it. So love.
Just
to
a
hear from
reminder, and just a reminder in case anybody came in late or you were doing something else during the podcast while you're listening to it. Just a reminder that there is a free tier to try it out. So go check that out, lootlock.com. And then we can pass on the feedback if you're in our community as well. So let us know. Again, thanks, Nick, for stopping in. And we'll begin closing out the show by first saying a huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, Jacqueline Amira, and other 100 plus Patreons. Next, a special thank you to our 20 Twitch subscribers and over 1,470 Twitch followers. And a shout out to our 8,065 YouTube subscribers. Thank you to everybody who subscribes to us one way or another, or supports us one way or another. We couldn't be here without you. We wouldn't be here without you. Because why would we be doing this other than just talking to each other, probably? So thank you so much for being here. And again, doing those things allows us to be able to do the things we do, like bring in Nick because we went to PAX East, or if we missed out on talking to him at PAX East, we had a meeting and we brought him here because we thought this was important for the community. And if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to go to the PAX East. We wouldn't be able to do all these things with Switch 2. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Check out our website, nintendodads.org, for a list of Nintendo Dads family of podcasts or our other recommended podcasts like Star Wars Dads, Mega Dads, Dad Crossing, Retro Logic, and their family of podcasts themselves. Our latest YouTube videos and tweets are there, links to all our social media, Patreon, and Extra Life pages. So again, if you aren't familiar with our Extra Life, go there, click on it. You can join our team, or you can donate throughout the year to help local children's hospitals. You can also go to nintendodads.org/merch for our merch. I can't even get the words out, to our merchandise. You also can, if you're watching on YouTube below, you can see probably a strip of all of our branded stuff. You can go there. And don't forget to check out our sponsors, manscaped.com. Get 20% off your Manscaped order with free shipping with the codes NINDADS, NINDADS. You can email us at nintendodads@gmail.com or call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-3237. Big thanks to our OC Remix for the music throughout the show, like the one you're listening to now. Download from your favorite podcast app of choice, and please, please, please leave us a 5-star review and a comment, especially if you're listening on Spotify. We'd love to see more numbers go up there as far as the reviews and the comments go there, because we get those reports. Until next time, it's for me, for Jesse, for Marty, for Justin, and our special guest, Nick. We'll check you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
You gotta get your together. You know.